College football is built on rivalries, and this rivalry takes a backseat to no one. They were ready pregame. They're ready now, and so are we. It's the Canes and the Noles. We welcome you to college football presented by Walmart. And we welcome you to the ACC on ABC. One of the rivalry games. If you grew up as a college football fan, you will remember your whole life. It's Florida State and Miami. I'm Bubba Baxa alongside Brock Ewart. Jarren Williams will join us down on the field in just a moment. Can you say electric here at Hard Rock Stadium?
3,000 miles away I grew up from this rivalry game, and yet I remember it as vividly as any. The stars, the logos, the passion in this state between these two teams will be on full display for 60 minutes this afternoon.
Florida State won the toss, deferred their option to the second half. Jeff Thomas, who is like lightning, is back deep to receive the kick from Logan Tyler. DeeJay Dallas back there as well. Miami and Florida State underway here just north of Miami. Thomas from the 1. Stood up at about the 22. And Jarren Williams, a short time ago, you got a little peek behind the curtain. They let Jarren into that Noles locker room just before kickoff. How much fun was that?
Oh, it was awesome. Because, you know, this is Florida State Miami, so the trash talking starts well before kickoff. And that was the case as the Seminoles made their way into that locker room yelling, "This is our house." They have never lost here at Hard Rock Stadium. Once inside, the guys were loose, the music was blaring, they were dancing, and then they got quiet. As Mario Edwards, former Seminole, assembled the team, he told them, "I remember this game. This is about respect. You don't ask for it. You can't pay for it. You go out there and you earn it by dominating." Bob.
And a redshirt freshman getting the start at quarterback for only the second time in N'Kosi Perry. He hands it off to Travis Homer for a yard on first down.
I love that. You go out and you earn it, you make a name for yourself, and that's exactly what N'Kosi wants to do. Just his second start, really soft landing a week ago, only had to throw 12 passes. Defense scored 3 touchdowns. He's more accurate. This team loves him. The fan base gave him a roaring ovation, and he's going to have to battle here against a big-time opponent, a big-time rivalry.
Homer again. Florida State trying to rip the ball out. He gets to the 29. It will be 3rd down and 3 after a gain of 6. And Mark Richt knows this rivalry from both sides because back in the late 80s, through the 90s and all the way to the year 2000, he got his start as a GA on the staff of Bobby Bowden and eventually rose up to become Coach Bowden's offensive coordinator. Perry to throw. On 3rd down, the slant thrown behind Jeff Thomas. So the Noles get a stop. 3 and out to start.
That's an area that Miami has been so much better this year, is converting 3rd down. Really struggled a year ago. And many of those were situations like that, just a pitch and catch. The ball on the back shoulder there at Thomas. Could not corral it, and that's exactly what this Florida State defense needed. A defense that has struggled mightily this season. Gets off the field in 3 plays.
Punt from Zach Fiegels. Comes down to the 22-yard line. DJ Matthews gets bottled up. A pretty good field position against arguably the best defense in America, Brock.
Well, the #1 pass defense, and they do it at all 3 levels. It starts by winning the line of scrimmage, and you're going to see lots of tackles for loss, lots of stunts and movement from that group up front. Not a sack, fumble, touchdown by Quarterman. And how about the pursuit, man? This is so much fun tape to watch when everybody is flying to the football. Andy Diaz said, yeah, they may have been missed tackles, but not so on our grade sheet because of the effort. And then lastly, and most importantly, if you're going to be #1, you have got to play tight man-to-man coverage. And they love it. They love the challenge of playing press man on that outside.
DeAndre Francois starting at his own 42-yard line. Great field position to start for Florida State. Four-man rush. DJ Matthews with a catch for a couple of yards.
It's going to be key today for Francois is to get that ball out of his hand. This is a group that is relentless, and just look at the defensive ranks. Number 1 in passing yards. I think, as I just showed you, because of the way they do it at every level. The third down conversions, an area of tremendous improvement with veterans. And the tackles for loss, that's the big guys up front, and that's not a good look.
Jaquan Johnson missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury against Toledo earlier in September. They were just getting him back today. And this is a young man that was an AP preseason first-team All-American. He was thinking about going to the NFL until he spent some time with Ed Reed. He was afraid to approach Ed Reed at a Miami practice, intimidated to see arguably the greatest safety of all time, and of course one of the most famous Canes of all time, show up. And Ed Reed told him once they got acquainted, and now they talk regularly, said, when are you ever going to get a chance to enjoy this kind of an atmosphere playing in a Miami Florida State game again? Yeah. Go back to school for your senior season. And look who's here today. There's Ed Reed on the left. So he's going to want to see Jaquan Johnson back on the field as quickly as possible, and good to see him trot off.
A little gray in that beard of Ed Reed. I think I did it as well as anybody ever here, and I think that was just the wind got knocked out of him. He came ferociously on that tackle. DJ Matthews fell on top of him. You're going to see Jaquan back, and Ed Reed's going to enjoy watching him all afternoon.
Wide receiver hitch quickly out to Nyquan Murray. And Nyquan Murray fights his way for a first down.
Back-to-back plays, and that ball is out of DeAndre's hands in less than 2 seconds. And you're going to see this kind of tempo. This is what they want to do. Multiple formations. They feel like DeAndre's gaining in comfort with everything they want to do. Lots of formations and lots of tempo.
Quarterback run. 3 yards for DeAndre Francois. Jonathan Garvin made the stop.
Bubba, part of the reason that Florida State has to play with that tempo that Brock mentioned is they have had a ton of inconsistency on the offensive line. This is their 6th different starting 5 that they've used in 6 games this year. One piece of good news, Derek Kelly should be available, so they do have a little bit more depth on a very thin offensive line.
And they're trying to protect here on 2nd down and 7. And Francois goes down. So there is the banged-up offensive line surrendering a 7-yard sack.
And it was Michael Pinckney, and he's coming in here, and you'll see this from the used linebackers, a group that has played so much football together. As it is a delayed stunt and blitz, a 4-man rush, and in comes Pinckney as that pocket collapses. I love watching this defense this week. This is as much fun this season as I've had watching any defense in college football. They play together, they play so fast, and man, are they violent.
3rd down and 14 after the sack. Play clock under 5. Francois still looking over to the sideline. And it looks like Willie Taggart's going to call a timeout from the sideline. Deafening here at Hard Rock Stadium.
It's a game that you come to Florida State for.
Everyone wants to play, and that's why you come to Miami.
I mean, if you're not ready to play this week, there's nothing I can tell you. It's because it's a rivalry game. It's intense. Everybody feels it a little bit different. And this is a game where everybody can be remembered.
And make a name for yourself.
And losing to these guys, I had to hear it all year. I'm not trying to deal with that this year.
If you grew up as a football player anywhere in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you dreamt of playing in this game. Florida State, Miami, after the timeout. 3rd and 14 for the Noles. 3-man rush. Francois, middle screen, caught by Trey McKinney. The tight end off to the races. First down. Perfect play call after the timeout by Willie Taggart and crew.
Tremendous poise from Francois. He's as tough a quarterback as anybody in college football. He knew he was going to get whacked. He had to attract that rush to him. While it was just 3 men, he ends up on the ground. But more importantly, the Noles get the first.
Wes Patrick Makes a wallop at about the 26-yard line. Still picked up 4. It is Jaquan Johnson that delivered that shot.
And Francois, you know this as a quarterback. He's looking off. He's trying to attract those defensive linemen, and he knows he's going to get hit, but that's the courage this kid displays.
Patrick again. Flag down on the far side of the field.
One thing resonates right away, Bob.
Offside, defense, number 97, 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
And that's a point that Mark Richt made to us yesterday, and that is convincing. And that time, Jonathan Garvin, the defensive end, and all the rest of these Canes, that what you've seen on tape is not what you're going to get today. You will see a different effort, a different sense of urgency. The rivalry just brings it out. And you felt that between these two teams in the tunnel earlier today. And this is the best Florida State has come out. An opening drive, a 3-and-out defensively, and right down the field here, even converting a 3rd and 14.
Patrick moves the chains, and the Noles are in the red zone. Well, looking at the first 5 weeks of the season, Brock, you can make an argument that in the last 40 years, it's the worst 5 weeks, despite a 3-2 record, that Florida State has ever played. They have been terrible so far this season. As now we've got another injured Cane. That's Jarren Williams, and that is a very important player at that 3 technique inside for the Canes. So we'll step aside and come right back in a moment.
Over here.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And in part by the well-connected 2019 MKC.
You see the branding over here. The Hurricanes football. That view actually lights up the trim of it. We'll go from the white to light up. You don't have to live right now. You can see the
Talk about the proud papa taking us through his baby yesterday. Mark Richt, of course, played at UM and now back as their head coach. Carroll Soper football indoor practice facility. Hard to believe Miami didn't have an indoor, but now they have one, and all of their offices scheduled to open up in just a few weeks. What a facility it is, and what an opening possession for Florida State with great field position in the red zone. First down. Taking a shot up the seam, bobbled, caught at the goal line. It's a touchdown to DeeJay Matthews, or check that Keith Gavin if it stands. There is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage. We'll have to check the marker.
Offside, defense, number 19. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So it is a touchdown for Keith Gavin from DeAndre Francois. He was down right at the goal line, and they'll take another look and make sure that he was in.
He's in. He just lands right on top of Bandy there. He just can't. The undersized corner. Trajan's had a fantastic year. And that is one of the matchups that Florida State wanted to take advantage of. Some of their size out on the perimeter. And a tremendous job. And Gavin scoring his first touchdown of the season. His first touchdown as a Seminole. And using that big frame to just get inside. A well-conceived concept. They get in the bunch. They just spread everybody out. He's got the corner on his back, and he never relented. What a shot there from DeAndre Francois. What an opening drive from the Seminoles. Exactly what they needed to do in this building.
Biggest play to me, Brock, they called timeout before 3rd down and 14 at midfield. And they come out with literally the perfect play call. The little tight end screen to Trey McKitty. So it goes 8 plays, 58 yards. And this looks like a pretty quick confirmation by replay.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Well, there's no question. You're talking about the #1 3rd down defense in America coming into today. And DeAndre's crew, one of the worst of all the Power 5 schools on 3rd down. And to get a 3rd and 14 to boot, set up that entire touchdown drive.
Aguayo has never missed point after in regular season play. He is now 101 for 101. And one of the best rivalry games there is, off to a great start. Florida State and Miami, the underdog, on top early.
team in the country. Notre Dame's first trip to Blacksburg. These two don't have a lot of history together.
Notre Dame knows they're going to face a hostile environment in Lane Stadium.
There we go.
Might be about as good a test, Brock, as Notre Dame has left, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
As they're trying to make the playoff, that is going to be a tough atmosphere tonight at Lane Stadium. Speaking of tough atmospheres, Florida State handles it extraordinarily well to start as Logan Tyler puts it through the back of the end zone.
And Ian Book has been phenomenal for Notre Dame to start his career really this year. We saw him last year. He had a spot start against North Carolina last year and played okay, but not at this level in efficiency. You know, the Bud Foster on the other side is going to heat him up. That they will just in that building and you just feel the noise and the energy, a lot like this place today, a lot of noise and energy. You know he's going to face a very aggressive defense, which is what, by the way, this Seminoles team has been. And in my opinion, too aggressive. Too many busted assignments, too many mistakes over the first 5 weeks of this season. If that first drive was any indicator, a little bit more base defense, and you make a redshirt freshman quarterback making his second start, you make him earn it today.
Four-man rush, and N'Kosi Perry on top with Darrell Langham, who fights for 9 yards. And Perry last week barely had to even function. He threw a couple of really nice balls, which we saw on tape, but the defense took it away from North Carolina 6 times and scored 3 times. We'll talk about taking heat off of a quarterback, a redshirt freshman making his first career start, when the defense puts 21 on the board. DeeJay Dallas looking for room, breaking tackles. That is a hard-working yard and a half. It looks like he's got the first down.
It's an awful lot of pursuit there from Florida State as well. Again, this was tough defensive tape to watch as Dallas breaks all those tackles. It's a Florida State team that just tried to do way too many things. Louisville had guys running all over the field wide open, Bob. And we're very fortunate that their quarterback was highly inaccurate and were able to pull that game out in the end. But you got to just let the Brian Burns, you got to let some of these athletes, in my opinion, line up, not think so much, not move and stunt and blitz so much. They put their hands in the ground and use their athleticism.
Here comes the blitz. Perry in trouble. And the rush gets home for Florida State. N'Kosi Perry goes down. That's a loss of 7 as Marvin Wilson came through. 2.5 sacks on the season now for Marvin Wilson.
I like this line stunt. This is old Michigan State stuff, and that's exactly where D coordinator Harlan Barnett came from. I was joking with him yesterday. Where'd all these exotic blitzes come? Because I remember your double A gap blitz there with Sparty that you did time and time and time again, and they get to it. And that time, an excellent job by Wilson to finish off. That Wilson, the #1 D tackle recruit in America when he came here 2 years ago.
Only 7 tackles as a freshman last season, but coming on this year. 2nd and 17. They'll run it with Dallas. DeeJay Dallas, blockers out in front. Dragged down near midfield, flags down, and that might be a horse collar tackle that could add 15 more on. Dontavius Jackson went nose to nose with DeeJay Dallas, who will stay in the game, but he is shaken up after a 20-yard pickup.
There's no foul for a horse collar tackle. The result of the play is the first down.
They picked the flag up for horse collar tackle.
The only reason they did that is they felt like that tug did not pull directly down, that it's to the side. But they look at that action, and that is a call you make if you pull directly down and that player goes backwards, not to the side. That's the judgment there the officials made.
Dallas again. 2 yards.
By the way, that last play, what an incredible block by the true freshman receiver, D. Wiggins. It was right in the slot that set the table up. For a running back here that's watching DeeJay just grow up. He was a receiver when he came here last year. He's added 30 pounds, and you feel his confidence grow. Every carry in every game, 100-yard day a week ago against the Tar Heels.
Long throw to the sideline over the head of Jeff Thomas. So now it's 3rd down and 8.
That was just late. That's a young quarterback that's looking down the field a little bit, the vertical game. The watching Mark Richt's system, he loves to take his shots down the field, but he will always have outlets, the former quarterback knows. can take that shot, but you got to get to that check down. And that time, Perry just a tick late. He knew it. I think part of the reason he sailed that ball into the sidelines. Awfully big 3rd and 8 here. Just a confidence perspective, I think, for a redshirt freshman quarterback. And the defense on the other side that's not done a good job of getting off the field.
Blitz coming again on 3rd and 8. This time it's picked up. Long throw, jump ball, incomplete. Levante Taylor tracking Lawrence Cager the whole way. And the Noles get a midfield 3rd down stop.
That is very similar to the touchdown on the other side. Cager is the big wide receiver for Miami. And we saw Gavin on the other side be able to shield off a smaller corner in Bandy, and Levante, not the biggest of guys. #1 corner recruit. Again, you see that over and over again. Talented players that he used his strength, his hands to rip and fight that ball away and get off the field.
Jack Spicer will try and pin the Noles deep, and this one comes off sideways. Not a good punt from Jack Spicer. Let's see where they mark it. This doesn't flip field position at all. 25-yard line for Florida State. About a best case scenario for the Noles.
Guys, it's time now to honor those who serve, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. And it seems no matter how many times we see these kind of moments in sports, they never get old. This is during the FSU spring game in April, when FSU offensive lineman Derek Kelly was surprised by his brother, Derrickis, a Navy officer, before the game. They played the video message. Derrickis ran out. The two embraced for the first time in 2 years. He was stationed in Hawaii. Total surprise for Derek, who's the oldest of 5. He said, "I'm the protector of my younger siblings, but now it's his brother that's protecting our country."
Jaquez Patrick didn't get much protection there. He loses a yard, but Brock, you know, sometimes we moan to each other about the fact that we're away for 3 days at a time. How about those who serve? You don't see their family for 2 years. You understand the emotion when they're finally reunited. Just terrific stuff. Empty backfield, bunch set right on 2nd down and long. There's the screen. And Akers across the 30, about 4.5 yards shy of the first down. So it brings up a 3rd down now for the Noles.
And you're seeing those unique formations. It's the one thing that Willie Taggart said to us, that we just can't line up and play against this Miami crew conventionally, and they've been too slow. Over the last few weeks, they really wanted to pick their tempo up, yet make sure they diversify their formations.
Check that was Patrick on the reception. Akers now in the backfield next to Francois. 3rd down. Francois, another 3rd down conversion. It is Cam Akers running a simple little crossing route for 8.
That is a tight window. You're watching a redshirt freshman on the other side misfire on a couple throws, and Francois right into the teeth of a senior safety, of junior linebackers, small tight windows. He's on the money.
Play action. Francois ducks and goes down. Lost 1.5 yards. It's another Miami sack. And at the bottom of the pile's Joe Jackson again.
It's a couple occasions, other than the touchdown pass, just about everything else has been out of DeAndre's hands. But on both occasions where they're trying to get to that intermediate pass, trying to get down the field, that's now 2 sacks by that Hurricane defense, the best in all of college football in tackles for loss.
Francois on the slant, broken up. Marion Terry, the intended receiver.
That's a really nice play from Michael Jackson right there. He is right on the hip, and I like what Manny Diaz said, and if he said it to us, I guarantee you he challenged his senior corner to do even more, to be the predator out there. He's been good, but he's not been elite, and the NFL likes him. I think they want to see him attack the football just like that more and more, and this place is going wild.
13 on the play clock as Francois tries to get his team set. Hard to keep living in these 3rd downs if you're Florida State. 3rd down and long again. Francois to the sideline. Miscommunication. Gavin ran an in, and Francois threw an out, and the Canes get a stop.
There you see the #1 pass defense. That's a group that's not going to allow many third and extra longs. Gave up the 3rd and 14 on the screen. But the pressure up front, that pocket just gets tighter and tighter. Good press man coverage out there. Nowhere to go.
Logan Tyler with a short kick. And this one's going to take a hop. Going to take a Seminoles roll inside the 20-yard line, out of bounds at the 17. Time for an update from ABC News. Let's hear from John Carl.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Carl, and we're coming on the air with breaking news. The Senate just moments ago voted to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court, completing a polarizing chapter in American history and cementing a conservative shift for the nation's high court for a generation. The vote, 50-48, is the narrowest margin for a Supreme Court confirmation in more than 130 years. The nomination process bitterly divided the Senate, the confirmation thrown into a tailspin by allegations of sexual assault dating back decades. Hundreds of protesters are gathered outside of the Capitol and the Supreme Court. And make no mistake, this confirmation marks a huge victory for President Trump. Let's get right to ABC's senior congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce on Capitol Hill. Mary?
John, this ultimately came down to 4 key swing votes and a decision that they've described as agonizing. 3 of those senators, Jeff Flake, Susan Collins, and Joe Manchin, voting to support Judge Kavanaugh. Joe Manchin, the only Democrat to side with Republicans, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, the only Republican to cross party lines. John, I've talked with members on both sides of the aisle here who say this fight was so brutal it marks a new low in the partisan divide.
Mary, thank you. Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation will, of course, be the topic of conversation on tomorrow's This Week. Join me as I talk one-on-one with White House counselor Kellyanne Conway. We're going to return now to college football. I'm Jonathan Carl in Washington. Have a good day.
And welcome back to Miami. The annual meeting between the Noles and the Canes, and a big 3rd down coming up here for UM. After Travis Homer ripped off 7 on 2nd down, it'll be 3rd down and 3, and a chance for Florida State, if they get a stop, to get the ball back, possibly with good field position again. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams. It has been exciting already here at Hard Rock Stadium. 4-man rush. Slant. It is there. Oh, a big hit on D. Wiggins. Somehow the true freshman held onto the football, picked up 9 on 3rd down. He's got something to say about it, too.
Man, that just felt like this rivalry, didn't it? Everything that we showed through the years in this rivalry, just hard hitting, just guys getting after it. The eyes are up there at Natural Dean, the safety that's trying to do what he can to separate the football, but a really well-timed throw. The best throw yet from Perry on 3rd down to get the conversion.
A clean hit from Natural Dean. Did it right with the shoulder. Homer, 3.5 yards.
And Nasruddin comes down now from his safety position. And Florida State plays and rotates a bunch of guys defensively. That is now back-to-back hits where he is making an impression. He is the leading tackler. 40 tackles coming into this game for Florida State, and he likes to be active. Trust me, Mark Richt and his staff have watched those last 2 plays. You get a safety that active, you're going to get play pass and a shot eventually over his head.
Nasruddin averages 5.5 solo tackles per game, 2nd best in the ACC so far this season. 2nd down and 6. Homer trying to turn the corner. And he is right about at the 1st down line to gain. He picked up 5, looks to be a foot short. Sante Samuel made the stop, so it's 3rd down and less than 1 as Samuel's tapping out.
Yeah, he's worse for wear on that. It's one thing to cover 50 yards down the field. I think that's the right move. That's Homer, who runs as hard as anybody in college football. Gets out on the edge. They lose contain. He's got to come and fill. And the true freshman did all he could, but you can tell he's paying for it.
trainers are looking at Asante Samuel over on the Florida State sideline. And it's no wonder.
That is Homer that is trying to get out on that edge. That is just full force. Two guys. Samuel also being blocked into that contact and play.
So after the injury timeout, 3rd down and about a foot. N'Kosi Perry creeps up under center. Quarterback sneak, gets a push. And it looks like he's got the first down. Last week, N'Kosi Perry, 8 of 12, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And it really, Brock, wasn't on his shoulders with how the defense produced against North Carolina. Like Florida State-Miami game, though, expect it to be a very different story today.
Yes, and you saw a little nervousness, I think, early. A couple throws, a comeback that was a little bit left inside. A little late to a check down, and he throws out of bounds, but a nice 3rd down conversion on the slant route. See if that just gives him a little comfort. And this is the area again between the 40s. Coordinators love to be aggressive and take those shots down the field.
Now Miami's going to call a timeout.
Miami, their first of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
And we'll come back in 30 seconds. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams back here at Hard Rock Stadium just outside of Miami. It's the Canes and the Noles. And it's been hard hitting already.
Yep. I think Mark Richt during that timeout was having the official conversation with that white hat just about some of those collisions. Been pretty forcible. They've not been defenseless players. They've been in the act of a really hard hitting game thus far.
DeeJay Dallas breaks a tackle. Turned back just shy of the 45-yard line, but that is a first down.
Bob, this is N'Kosi Perry's second start as he took over for 5th-year senior Malik Rozier, who went 14-4 as a starter. But head coach Mark Richt said Perry gives us a better chance to win moving forward. And we're told Rozier took the news about as well as you can expect. But I've been watching him on the sideline. He's been supportive. He's the first one talking to Perry when he comes over. After Perry checks in with quarterback coach John Richt on the headsets, he talks him through whatever he heard.
Well, what he's going to hear right now is he's got 2nd and long because DeMarcus Christmas wrapped up DeeJay Dallas and threw him back for a loss of 1.5 yards.
First down defense been pretty good for the Noles today. It's been one of their challenges this season as we tick down here at the end of this first quarter. And this is what you and I expected. I listened to the guys on game day today, and every one of them thought this would be a blowout. You look at it, you look at the film of this 3-2 FSU team that has struggled so mightily, and a Miami team that's been hot. But they seem to forget in a rivalry game, and in this matchup in particular, 14 of the last 17 one-possession games may be in store for that today.
Yeah, you walk through the Miami training facility and look at the names up on the wall, and it is one household name after another. So many of them are here today, as Ed Reed has been inducted into the Canes Hall of Fame, and why not? And a lot of his old teammates and a lot of other stars of Miami football have come out to support Ed Reed. They're down on the sideline. And also some luminaries from Florida State as well. There's Derek Brooks, whose son is playing that Sam linebacker spot for the Noles, his old spot. Travis Homer for 4. We didn't even have time to show you all the guys that are down on the sideline. There's Jarren James. He was standing next to Warren Sapp down on the sideline as well. Your old teammate, Jarren James.
And those two guys just love violent contact, man. There was not a better pass blocker as a running back than Jarren James. He took so much pride in it, and obviously Warren Sapp changed the 3 technique, man. Changed football in many ways with what he started here, and Jimmy Johnson and crew, and continued into the NFL.
That's DeMarcus Christmas slow to get up.
You see here, you said earlier about N'Kosi Perry and, you know, all those turnovers and takeaways and just take some of the burden off. Well, so is running the football. And that's the one thing head coach, play caller Mark Richt, former quarterback, that he has such a feel to me of managing quarterbacks. He's been so good for decades doing it. And just understand he's not going to put all the burden and responsibility in this rivalry game and in this matchup on his redshirt freshman quarterback. He's going to try to continue to pound the football because he knows, number one, he wear Florida State down, but number two, is going to set up the play action eventually that should be potent.
Perry out of the pocket on third down. No one home for the nose. And he easily cruises for a third down conversion.
Yeah, a little two-man coverage there. And that is a savvy move from a very young quarterback. He could see those DBs turn their backs. That's one of the new wrinkles that Florida State was going to employ today, to try to play a little more man coverage and not bust assignments. And that time Nkosi was able to see it, have the lane, and make the big play.
And for those of you just joining us, welcome to one of the great rivalry games in college football. And we're off to that rivalry game kind of start. Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams, and Nkosi Perry trying to throw one down the chimney and gets a flag thrown in the end zone. The true freshman D. Wiggins had a step, and Kyle Myers may have interfered at about the goal line. Let's check.
Pass interference, defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Some of that vertical game, you're going to see 5, 6, 7 of these shots today. And just a little, I think it is his right arm. That right arm is just hooked around that wide receiver. And anytime you give a tell like that to those back judges and they think it's going to impede that receiver's opportunity to go get the ball, you're going to get that penalty called against you.
In the red zone, trying for the equalizer. Travis Homer pulls his way down to about the 12-yard line. Now Florida State, their first possession of the game with DeAndre Francois, had a terrific third down conversion at midfield, and that the slant to the junior Keith Gavin. The only points we've had so far. And exactly, Brock, you think what Florida State in this atmosphere needed. It quieted the crowd down a little bit, kind of served notice.
Yep.
We might be a 2-touchdown underdog, but this is a rivalry game, and we are here for the full 60 minutes.
Miami on the other side has just continued to be committed to that run game in early downs.
Counter to Homer. The first downs. It brings up a very important third down and 2 at about the 10-yard line.
He just runs hard, doesn't he? And Edgerrin James down on that sideline. Clinton Portis just watching, and there is so much respect, I think, outside those former players and certainly inside for everything that very dependable running back brings to the table.
That brings in DeeJay Dallas. Third down. A short 2. He lines up behind Nkosi Perry. Look at the call. He is driven back, and the ball came out. He may have gotten it back.
What a terrific play there. You saw Derek Brooks earlier. His undersized son playing linebacker. Kalen Brooks. He beats the blocker. And there can be times there's an advantage to being 5'10" and playing linebacker. Sometimes they can't spot you and see you and do it any better than that. Setting up a fourth down call. The coach Rick looks to be very aggressive.
Wow, do you think they're actually going to snap the ball here, or is this a hard count on 4th down and 2? Play clock already down to 10. They do snap it. There's the slant. End zone. Touchdown. Lawrence Cager gets the Canes on the board. A touchdown on the 4th down conversion.
Number 5 on the season, and it's just simple slant route. Just a one-on-one situation out there with Kyle Myers. And a big receiver shakes like that, and he gets that 1-8 shown to a quarterback, even a young one. And a redshirt freshman there is no better sight to see as a quarterback. An easy pitch and catch for Cager's 5th.
34 career receptions now for Lawrence Cager. 9 of the 34 for touchdowns. How about that percentage?
How about that call? How about Mark Richt says, I'm not playing for field goals today in this rivalry. I know who's quarterback on the other side. That Francois, pretty dangerous. This effort and energy from the Seminoles, better than anything they've seen on tape. And the 4th and 2, man, that's put in an awful lot of confidence and trust in a redshirt freshman quarterback who loves the veteran receiver getting it done.
Let's be revolutionary. Yeah, we can be so much more.
Week 5, Monday Night Football. Will history be made? Drew Brees only 200 yards away from Peyton Manning's most passing yards record. It'll be the Saints and the Skins, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN, simulcast on ESPN2 in Spanish, and available on the ESPN app so you can watch anywhere. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Bob Wishoes and Brock Ewert, Allison Williams here in Miami. We are now deadlocked at 7 between the Canes and the Noles. Anthony Grant brings it out. The true freshman breaks a tackle. Just shy of the 30-yard line, he is brought down. Well, you know what? You've got the Iron Bowl, Ohio State, Michigan. You played in the Apple Cup. There are great rivalry games out there. This one takes a backseat to none of those. This is one of those games, if you're a college football fan, you just grew up watching.
But what is it? Is it the passion? Is it the heat and humidity? Was it the old Orange Bowl, played at night in the stadium just rocking? This one, even 3,000 miles away where I grew up, this was one you had to watch. You just had to see it. And so many of these players grew up watching this game, and you're feeling it here through the first quarter and a half. Unbelievable passion and emotion, really, from both of these teams.
Well, it's got everything. I mean, look at the guys we're showing you down on the sideline. Seems like half the rosters end up in Canton, so you know you're watching great players. They're all from here, so they've all grown up playing against one another, and they genuinely dislike each other. And that penalty goes against the Noles. Flag was dropped, but now the Noles are over on their sideline as if maybe they called a timeout. And we talk about that good old-fashioned hatred. This as the two teams left the field at the end of pregame warm-ups. And for Florida State Miami games, this is like the kickoff. Yeah. I mean, this normally happens. You're going to get plenty of woofing between the two sidelines.
And you'll see how close these games have been through all these years. Just some epic battles. And I love what the OC for Miami said, Thomas Brown. He goes, down here, you can't duck from competition. And so many of these players have played against each other. That's why you have that scrum. What is it? Familiarity breeds contempt. And that's exactly what you sense. But you just can't hide from competition. You can watch a lot of players all over the country, and you try to scout and evaluate. Well, 8 of their games are against nobodies. Not down here, not in these 3 counties, where so many of these players come from today. You know the essence of the competitor when you watch the tape on these high schoolers.
There's no doubt. Almost every great high school, especially in South Florida, has a player or 2 on each roster. Cam Akers spins across the 35 out to about the 37-yard line, a gain of 8.
Bob, you guys are so right. For some rivalries, it feels personal. For Florida State and Miami, it is personal. I talked to the Seminoles' Fred Jones. He estimated he played with 30 guys on Miami's team. Mike Harlan said, I've played about 20% of the Seminoles. They know each other so well, and that's what makes this rivalry what it is.
Jonathan Garvin on the stop. And it looks like Akers was just a little bit shy of the first down, so it's 3rd down and short. Actually marked him down basically at the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and a full yard.
Look at this formation.
Akers again. Jump cut. Buried by Jaquan Johnson. He didn't get it.
No, and I think Jaquan Johnson, a veteran player, looked at that formation, looked at the back-to-back snaps. And I love tempo. I really do. And I understand it when you're outmanned at the line of scrimmage. But that formation, 1,000% said same play, inside run. And Jaquan Johnson didn't even look to the outside. All 3 linebackers were basically lined up on the sidelines. And when you run that kind of tempo, there's only so many plays you're going to run. Just try to run back-to-back inside zone, and you're running an unblocked All-American. No chance.
Mark Richt rolled the dice, scored a touchdown on a 4th down conversion. Willie Taggart is not rolling the dice here on 4th and 1 inside his own 40-yard line in a tie game. He's going to put it on Logan Tyler, and Tyler with an NFL-looking kick. Fair catch made all the way back at the 21-yard line by Jeff Thomas. The Knowles and Canes, just what we would expect early on.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And Nissan, innovation that excites.
Florida State and Miami here at Hard Rock Stadium, and they were tailgating early this morning, getting ready for this one. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart and Allison Williams.
Awesome shot right there, and it just speaks to this rivalry.
Friends become enemies.
That's right.
At least for a day. Deadlocked at 7 with 9:43 to go before halftime. DeeJay Dallas lost a couple of yards, but the last time the Canes had the football, Brock, they rolled the dice and they scored.
Players, formations, plays. How do I get my players in the position? Well, I do it formationally, and I get a safety over the top of tight ends, so I get a true freshman corner to take advantage of. I want my player, Cager, a bigger, stronger player than the true freshman undersized corner. I do it through formations. I get the man-to-man look I want, and ultimately the execution for the 5th touchdown of the season for Mr. Cager.
And now Florida State's got those split safeties back on 2nd down at 13. Josie Perry lobs one to the sideline. Mike Harley trying to run under it. And now it will be 3rd down at 13.
We asked yesterday, Coach Rick, and a question he's been asked 100 times since he made this move to put in the redshirt freshman Perry. What's he bring you? Well, he brings you a little more movement and athleticism, although Rozier is a tremendous runner. 5 rushing touchdowns this year, but they pointed to his accuracy, and they said he is a more natural, accurate passer. Well, the first quarter and a half, we've not seen that yet. You know, we have seen a bunch of passes just like that one. Good pocket around him, and he's just got to relax a little bit.
Most dangerous deep threat on the field might be Jeff Thomas, number 4, that trips to the near side left. He is the middleman towards the middle of your screen. Stepping up and getting out of the pocket is Perry. He's got nowhere to go. Picked up a handful of yards, but after Joshua Kando brought him down, it will be the tackle for loss that gets it started for Florida State, and they get a 3 and out.
And there's not many of these 3 and out series, even against Samford, that the Seminoles have put together. They did it to begin the game. They did it right there as you're trying to find a little momentum. This energy and pursuit is unlike what I've watched on tape through the first 5 weeks. Welcome to this rivalry.
Florida State lines up a return. DJ Matthews driven back. Returnable though from the 25. Gets a block. Great field position for the Knowles. At their own 43-yard line. Flag down though back at the line of scrimmage.
During the kick, holding, number 49 on the receiving team. It's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, 1st down.
That field position not so good after all for Florida State when we come back.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
This season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Hurricane student section already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Huge holding penalty, and instead of at the 43-yard line for Florida State, backs them all the way up to their own 15. Play action for Francois. He's going to take a shot. It was there for Tamarian Terry. He takes a late hit as well. And maybe he was expecting that hit a little earlier because he didn't extend for a well-thrown ball by Francois.
That was a beautiful pass, and that's an alligator arm. That's a short arm. And you've got you know you're going to get hit. I showed you Francois earlier on a screen. Critical play, touchdown drive. He knew he was going to get whacked, and he stood in there and threw it. And Terry, the youngster, the redshirt freshman, you're going to get hit anyway. You might as well catch it and stick your arms out.
Could have been a big play for the Noles. Instead, it's 2nd down and 10. Amir Rasul finds a crease and picks up 6. 3rd down and 4, and this is a big one with under 8 minutes to go in the first half of a tie game. If the Canes get a stop here, Brock, this could be a major flip of the field. And now a timeout called by Willie Taggart from the Noles sideline.
Timeout, Florida State. Their 3rd and final of the half.
The play clock was only at 20, so he knows how important this play is. And I'm sure that's why he called timeout.
I don't think there's any question about it. They took the credit out early. Got to do it on this play next.
The ESPN app now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now.
It's a good day to have the app. And you can dial up all the games, including ours, the Seminoles, the Hurricanes. Midway through the second quarter, Bubba Baxa, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams, just outside of Miami. And after the Florida State timeout, they are out of timeouts now here for the rest of the half. Big 3rd down and 4. Here comes the blitz from the Canes. It's picked up, Francois, over the middle, and it's broken up. Marion Terry, the intended receiver, and Michael Jackson, his second pass defense to the game.
Yeah, I think Manny Diaz challenged Michael this week. You know, when you're a first round, you see yourself on first round draft boards. Maybe you take a little breath. You know, a year ago, he was the guy that had to prove himself. Big chip on his shoulder, and Michael's played a fine first half here. That's 2 occasions where you see that length really come to life. There's just no panic. You see young corners, and they panic so much. And that ball is in the air. They grab, they reach, they get out of character. Not the veteran Jackson. Well done.
Got another injury. The Spider, Jonathan Garvin, who is an athlete that has freakish balance. That's all you hear the Canes coaches talk about. We talked to Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator. Said the other day we're at practice, Garvin fell to the ground, and we all look at each other like, whoa, Garvin's on the ground. Said it was probably the first time he had been on the ground the entire season. He just has this low center of gravity. They call him the Spider because he can plant and he never goes down. That's an important injury for us to keep our eyes on. What kind of field position will the Canes now get midway through the second quarter? It's up to Logan Tyler. And this is a good-looking kick. DeeJay Dallas driven back to his 25. And heading south instead of north. Now he shakes and bakes and breaks some tackles. Flag down. And Dallas is down out at the 42-yard line.
Man, he runs hard.
That's a heck of a return. 18-yard return, but we have to check the marker.
There's a lot of pride in being a running back at this school. Frank Gores, the Edgerrin James, Clinton Portis, you know it. That team room we were sitting in, that Edgerrin James room.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the return team, number 53. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
So it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac! This is a good one. Which 3 teams have had a road winning streak of 5 or more against Miami? Give you a hint. One of them very close by. And has that streak going. That's a number I'm sure no Canes fan ever thought that they would see. The last time that Miami beat Florida State as the home team, 2004. That's crazy. But there are a couple of other teams that also have had long road winning streak against the Canes. Think about it. First and 10 for Miami at their own 20-yard line. A reverse, and it's a flea flicker. Back to Perry. He's taking a shot down the sideline. Underthrown. Is it scooped up by Travis Homer? They say yes. The initial signal was that it was a completion, and now, after they get together, they say incomplete.
What an effort there from Travis Homer. Well played by Levante Taylor, the sophomore cornerback. He's not buying. And you saw both head coaches as coordinators be very aggressive on their first down calls. Ooh, that's close.
Do you think he got his arms under the football at first? And the ball never seems to touch after he grasps it to his chest. Initially, one of the officials ran up to spot the football. He was going to rule that a completion. Another official came in, quick conference. They say incomplete, but now replay has buzzed down. They only needed to see one of our replays to say, you know what, we need to take another look at that.
I don't think that ball moves. I think you assume it is going to, and talk about body control and effort from a running back on a woefully underthrown pass. And he comes all the way back, he gets his hands underneath it, Bob. And I think you're used to, or you're going to assume that the ball will hit the ground and move. And I don't think it does. It's as if his hands are underneath him right there. And does it move enough and hit the ground right there?
If you are ruled by the officials to have control of the ball can touch the ground. So if you're at home saying, oh, I think the nose of the football may have touched the ground, that doesn't make it an incomplete pass.
Does he control and possess it there? I mean, honestly, you look at that and you would think it, and you can't do this in this booth. Either our booth or the replay guy is just down from us and assume that ball bounced off the ground. And they're going to call a stand. I think there is just too much. If you and I are debating this thing back and forth, I think there's just too much question. But what an unbelievable effort from Homer.
And the referee did not put his microphone on to make the announcement to the crowd. So all of a sudden he just held up 2 fingers. And that was the signal for it's second down. And that's how they hold up the call that was made on the field. Bad break for Miami. A good break for the Noles. Second down and 10. Perry to the pocket again. Across his body, up the sideline. And making the catch is Jeff Thomas. #1 in America, averaging 24.5 yards per catch. And that one's good for 27, so just above his average.
And he did the #1 thing you have to do when your quarterback breaks contain. That's break your route off, but not drift. He came straight down the line, right back at his quarterback. He is so fun to watch on tape. I don't know if there's a faster player in pads in college football.
When he runs, it's almost like his feet aren't even touching the ground.
That Hollywood guy in Oklahoma, but that's about it. Lightning fast.
Perry off play action again. The ball stripped out. It's loose at the bottom of the pile. Do the Noles have it? They think they do. Dontavius Jackson pops out and says it's Florida State ball. Brian Burns knocked it out. And Florida State's got a takeaway. A strip sack by Burns.
Is the backpack really going to come in this stadium? With the turnover chain, are you really going to pull that backpack out?
He puts on the bag.
Oh, there it is.
The turnover backpack. And the crowd that loves when the chain comes out here in Miami. Oh, they love seeing basically Dora the Explorer pop out on the sideline for Florida State. Great field position, though, for the Noles at the 43-yard line after the takeaway. Off to Cam Akers for 2 yards.
I ask these guys every week, you know I do, these coaches, give me the matchup that you're watching. And both Mark Richt and coordinators said, oh, it's Brian Burns. That guy is dangerous. He's a game changer. He's the one guy that we have to have our eyes on. And Tyree St. Louis there loses off the snap, and you see the incredible athleticism and wingspan of Burns with the sack fumble in the game-changing play.
That is a fancy-looking backpack, though. Second down and 8.
You called it Dora the Explorer backpack.
Dora's nice one. It's her Sunday backpack.
That's horrible.
Keith Gavin picks up the first down.
How about that little pocket for Francois? How about a beleaguered offensive line starting at 6 different combinations, doing what Willie's asked him to do?
Francois from the pocket again. Lobs one down the sideline. Incomplete. Now that was maybe your #1 concern about this matchup for either side coming into today. The defensive front for Miami against that offensive line for Florida State. And this is going to be a battle tonight at Lane Stadium. What do you think between Notre Dame and Virginia Tech at 8 right here on ABC?
That's going to go down the wire. I just think that is going to be a test out on the road. We're about that point in college season, and he's keeping the backpack. He's rocking that thing all series long. It's going to go down to the final minutes.
blitz off the edge. Francois, quarterback keeper. And he hurdles down to about the 27-yard line. Big third down for Florida State. And is that DeAndre Francois that's down? Oh, the player that was described to us by the Florida State coaches as the toughest guy they've got on their roster, with the beating that at times he has taken. He's down, and James Blackman, who relieved him after the opener last season, is getting warmed up.
And there is the danger of QB run. That is QB power. And coaches love this. Here's a numbers advantage that you can gain by running your quarterback. But you see the pursuit and the effort. The hit there on that left knee. And Francois knew it immediately.
That's the knee injury, or the injured knee from last season in the opener against Alabama that knocked him out for the year.
He's got the brace on that knee. He's been feeling great this year. You've already seen it in this first half. That guy will stand and deliver. That's the danger, especially with a group like Miami that all 11 pursue and all 11 love to hit.
Now, they talked about DeAndre Francois, the Florida State coaches did, about being their toughest player, their most unselfish player, and maybe one of their most influential voices is the backup quarterback. So now James Blackman, a player that they have a lot of confidence in, is about to come out there for a crucial third down.
Got 3rd and 5 against the #1 third down defense in America. It's good to at least see Francois getting up and walking as they take him to the injury tent. Expect tight man-to-man coverage. Make it as difficult as you can on the relief pitcher coming in.
Tough spot coming off the bench cold. Blackman to throw. A little tunnel screen. Nowhere to go. Cam Akers bottled up. Michael Pinckney.
Just look at the
nice
pursuit.
job.
Just look at the pursuit of these Canes. You want to be great at something on defense. It takes everybody. And that is 4 or 5 different Hurricanes that are flying to the football. They don't play man. That time they get all their eyes in their zone coverage so they can pursue and fly as Aguayo comes on for the field goal.
Aguayo not off to the best start this season, 4 of 7. After he led the ACC last year, 18 of 21. This one from 42 to put the Noles on top. Got it. Florida State retakes the lead. And we're coming back in a moment.
And that's how it would end. Pitt wins a shootout 44-37. Bob, Brock, Allison, back to you.
Florida State had like 110 more yards in penalty. Are they kicking off? Welcome back. Bob Baxa and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams. After the Florida State field goal, they've got the 10-7 lead, and it will be a touchback coming out to the 25-yard line. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question. Which 3 teams have a road winning streak of 5 games or more against Miami? We gave away one obvious answer. The others, Florida and Notre Dame.
Those were some battles through the years. This is a rivalry, but man, there have been so many big moments for this program. They made the turn last year. Really got back on a national level a season ago. Redshirt freshman coming off a sack fumble has got to get into rhythm.
DeeJay Dallas carries the pile forward for about 3 yards. Denarius Robinson made the stop, and that's good to see. Francois able to come out of the injury tent, get on the bike, and try to loosen that knee up. And now we have another injured Nole. This looks like Dontavius Jackson is down.
Pile just comes down on him. I think his left ankle gets caught underneath it. These guys have been flying around. We have seen it from the very onset of this game. You know, the emotion and the energy. Both staffs knew it. Whitley talked about it in that room with Allison in there. Mark Richt yesterday. He knew that this was not going to be. It's not going to be easy. I like that line from him. It's never easy in a rivalry game.
And if you're a Noles fan, that is, at least coming into today, your leading tackler being looked at. So while we have a chance with with an injury timeout here in Miami. Let's head back to Cassidy Hubbard with an update.
Thanks, Bob. And now for the All-State Mayhem moment. Number 5 LSU at number 22 Florida. And Feleipe Franks, the Daquan Green, the Gators with a 14-10 lead at the half. Bob, Brock, Allison, back to you guys.
All right, Cassidy, thanks very much. Where have we seen that before? The little fake forward and a pop pass from the Gators. So the Gators right now, LSU, a slight road favorite, but a highly ranked team having a tough time on the road. We've got a team that could be on their way to another high ranking in Miami, having a tough time at home as the 17th ranked Canes trail Florida State.
I sure like what I'm seeing from Florida State defensively. If you put their tape on, it's over 50% pressure this season. And right now they have done a whole lot more of just trusting that front four, allowing these linebackers to fly around, keeping a safety in the middle of the field, making the Hurricanes earn it.
Blitz, screen behind it, incomplete. Perry had to rush the throw just a little bit with Brian Burns bringing pressure, and he couldn't find DeeJay Dallas.
You say about Garvin Spider? I mean, that's what this guy is. He's a little bit light, about 240 pounds, but that is prototypical NFL. And he's coming to life. He's 5 sacks coming into this game, and he is their difference maker.
He had 9.5 sacks as a freshman a couple of years ago, dropped to 4.5 last season. He told Peter Boulware, I'm coming after your record this year. The Florida State record for sacks in a season, 19 by Boulware back in 1996. So he set the bar high, to say the least. Big third down here. 4-man rush. Perry, low throw, short of the sticks with a flag down. Ryan Hightower dove back to make the catch. He's at least 1.5 yards short of the first down, but a flag thrown on the opposite side of the field.
An eligible receiver downfield offense. Number 9 was covered and went downfield in the pass cross the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Yeah, that is right here. You see the strength of tight end. If you're the split end, you've got to be off the ball. He covers up the tight end. And therefore, the immediate penalty. But look at it again. Just a 4-man rush. And those guys are impacting this game. I really thought it'd be on the other side. The 4-man rush of the Hurricanes, and they've been effective. The Noles have less than 100 yards of offense, but this group up front, and a really good job, I think, of adapting from Harlan Barnett, the defensive coordinator here from Florida State. This is what I expected when I started to study the tape of this team. You hire in Harlan a guy that came out of Michigan State in that program for so many years, where it forces you on the other side to earn it. There were too many gimmies through the first 5 weeks of the season. Much better effort as a collective team today.
And Florida State obviously declined the penalty, with Hightower coming up at least 1 yard shy of the first down. So the punt group out there is Spicer. Gets away a wobbly kick. Matthews from his own 21. Makes the first man miss. Can they set up the wall? Matthews to midfield. DeeJay Matthews all the way back down to the Canes 36-yard line. A huge play on special teams. 45-yard return after a 46-yard punt.
It's all about that first block. It's got to be legal. It's got to be clean. You got to get outside of it. It's right there. That one block where you have got to be square. The returner's got to make the one guy miss. He makes that first level miss, and it's all about that second level, that first block that usually sets up the returns. It sure does here as Francois back in the game. We got a shot.
Instead, it's Jaquez Patrick. Brings up the middle and spins for about 3.5.
A really good job of timing from Francois, knowing that if I'm going to sit in this pocket for 2.5 seconds, you know what, I'm going to get hit a lot. And this was early in the game, and he gets whacked.
Patrick up the middle. He's got a couple of yards. So what was the adjustment to that quick rush?
Yep. Here comes all that rush. Remember that clock at 2.5. Now look at the difference, 2.1. And that half a second, that's the difference. And setting up a 3rd and 14 screen conversion, playing with sense of urgency.
Playing with tempo again here on 3rd down.
You got to be man-to-man.
Trying to run for it. Patrick carrying tacklers. He's got the first down. He is a load at 234 pounds. And he picks up 6.
And so is the 340-pound left guard, Minshew, that was moving people at the point of attack to set up that surge.
Patrick again blasts up the middle. Ran for nearly 750 yards last season. And he's closing in now and running for 200 yards so far this season.
Some hands on hips here from those Miami defenders right now. Exactly what Taggart wanted to do with this tempo.
The hammer looking for a nail, and he's finding a few. Jaquez Patrick up the middle. Another first down for Florida State. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report, Kevin Ngandi, Mac Brown, Jonathan Vilma. They are standing by. Now have a look ahead to what will be an electric atmosphere as well tonight at Lane Stadium. This play blown dead before it starts.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 59, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cole Minshew is an awfully big man here at about 330 pounds, and whenever you're going to run this inside zone, you have got to win right there. You've got to win at that block, because if Patrick is going to come through, and too many times early this season you're losing that initial block. Not the case today, certainly not the case on this drive.
Francois to throw. Looking for the slant. This time Terry's got it. And he's into the end zone. That's a Florida State touchdown. Tamari and Terry from 17 yards out. And the Noles extend their lead.
You know what? I was hard on that kid earlier, Terry. Called him alligator arms on a deep shot. Look at this route. He is going to run a 5-yard inside route into all sorts of traffic. And it takes a tremendous amount of courage. Watch him. He is going to be running right into this coverage, right into it. And oftentimes you get whacked on that play in the red zone. That's called not being a repeat offender. Not that mistake earlier of sensing contact, being a little short with the arms. Not that time. At a more critical time, scoring the 6.
5th touchdown catch of the season for the redshirt freshman, and the Noles have a 10-point lead.
DirecTV, more for your college football thing. With LSU down at the half, there are currently 2 top 5 teams losing. Peyton Ramsey to Nick Westbrook. Indiana up 17-14 on number 3 Ohio State. Bob, Brock, Allison, back to you.
Wow. Ohio State losing, LSU losing, Miami losing in their rivalry game to Florida State. Will the rankings take a major hit? Got a lot of games going on right now that could shake up the top 25. Jeff Thomas from the goal line. He gets loose with a flag down. Another flag thrown. And that might be a 3rd penalty marker. It is. That's a face mask, certainly on the return by Jeff Thomas. So there are 3 different penalty markers on the field. And Brock, I think it might be for 3 separate fouls. And now an altercation as a couple of the Canes players were not happy that the face mask was pulled of Jeff Thomas. And now the Canes coaches are doing whatever they can to keep Miami on the sideline. But there are more players heading towards the Florida State bench than there are coaches to keep them back.
And one of the worst parts about it is Jeff Thomas is down in what looks like a horrific lower leg injury. And you can see the frustration there. Those Canes players know it as one of theirs is laying on the ground.
Well, the coaching staffs for both teams do well to keep the sidelines separated. And now, more than anything, you got to be worried about Jeff Thomas because he is still being looked at by the training staff. Now he's up, and hopefully he is not badly injured. It looks like he's trying to put his shoe back on. But he also doesn't look like he's putting much weight at all on that left leg. even walking with a limp, that is really good to see.
That looked really bad. You see that oftentimes, especially full speed as he is flying down the field. The kicker hanging on, grabbing his face mask. All of his weight came down on that lower leg. He is a tremendous kid that has grown so much, and college football is better when you get playmakers like him staying on the field.
He came into today #1 in America in yards per catch, so he is the definition of a big play guy, as he was averaging just under 24.5 yards per reception.
Well, this is the definition of a committee meeting here as well, trying to figure out multiple penalties on this play.
There's a lot to unpack here. It was 3 penalty markers, all thrown at 3 totally different spots on the field, all at different times.
This has significant ramifications too when you look at this much time.
During the return, there's fouls on both teams. Those fouls were offset. During the return, holding, return team, number 19. Personal foul, face mask, kicking team, number 21. Those fouls offset. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on Miami's bench. That is the first unsportsmanlike conduct on Miami's team. We will replay the kick.
So they'll kick off again. And I'm not sure that the officials were given any choice but to issue that post-play foul, because a lot of players from Miami were making their way over to the sideline of Florida State after they saw Jeff Thomas go down with that face masking foul. And then here come the Canes. And thankfully enough coaches got in between the two groups of players that this didn't turn into something a lot more serious and a lot uglier.
Coaches, officials, much like it before we kicked off. Right outside the tunnel, and I am glad you were a young, strong, flexible man, Jeff Thomas, because he's in the injury tent, because that looked just at first blush reaction when you're running full speed like that. And punter return kicker there, Logan Tyler, is just doing all he can.
And one of the team captains, Jeff Thomas, as there are a couple of 4s down on that Miami sideline, and they are both terrific players. You saw Jaquan Johnson, who was injured earlier in the game and was able to get back on the field, and hopefully the same will happen now with Jeff Thomas.
So what does that do here emotionally? You have that moment right there, right? You come off the bench and you're frustrated. It's been a frustrating half of ball, especially I think offensively for Miami, not for Francois and for Florida State. This is exactly the way they could have scripted it. For Mark Richt, he's looking into N'Kosi Perry right now. A sack fumble, a couple throws, especially on early downs that he has missed. First down average that has really set them behind the chains. A lot to put together. And remember, Florida State got the 3 and out to begin this game, and will get the ball to begin the second half.
Now it's not Logan Tyler, as Jeff Thomas is getting on the bike over on the sideline. It looks like to try and loosen up that knee. It is Ricky Aguayo that is out to kick because of the extra 15 yards they get for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Miami bench. So Aguayo will kick it from the 50-yard line. And are you trying to kick this with some touch and force a return here, since your coverage unit has a 15-yard head start? Now he's going to put this all the way through the back of the end zone. And this might have been what happened after the play was over to Logan Tyler, as he was out there trying to see if he was going to be able to kick off, and he came up lame. So Tyler, while warming up, becomes injured. He's the punter, but he's also the kickoff specialist.
That's worth watching in this second half as well.
You wonder if Ricky Aguayo or Tommy Martin maybe is going to be out there trying to punt. We'll see if Tyler can get back in the game.
2 timeouts, 1:20 here. This first down play is going to be critical to really setting up this entire 2-minute drive, especially with 2 timeouts in your back pocket.
And only the second career start for N'Kosi Perry, the redshirt freshman quarterback. Dropped ball on first down by Lawrence Cager.
just not in any rhythm. That throw just a little bit late. Should have been caught? Absolutely. But if that's Francois on the other side, you're seeing him hit that back foot, and that ball's ripping. 3 years of experience versus just one start under your belt.
Florida State plays coverage. They rush only 4. Long throw to the sideline, and that one may have dropped in. Cager gets another chance, and this time he's got the catch. Although the officials get together. Now they say incomplete. Did the left foot land on the sideline as the right foot landed inbounds? Almost simultaneous.
How about the right forearm elbow as well?
They're going to take another look.
Is that left foot out before the right forearm is down?
And the left elbow. Does the left elbow hit on the sideline before the right foot touches? Now it looks like that right tail foot does make contact before the elbow.
It's not that right hand. It's got to be that forearm wrist elbow of that right. That left toe or knee. And that was a big time throw. That is a rush 3, you drop 8, and that is forgetting what was done in the past. Forget what lies behind and press on towards what's coming up ahead. It is so critical for a young quarterback. And that was a tight window. You see that definitively.
Ruled incomplete on the field.
And we saw this earlier with Homer as well.
Yeah, how would you be able to look at that and say there's indisputable evidence to say he was in bounds? It almost looks like the left toe and the right foot touch simultaneously or almost close to it. And as that left foot comes down to that left side of his leg, he's landing right on the sideline. And this is a very important call. Still 1:10 to go in the first half with 2 timeouts for Miami. And they would have a first down out near midfield. If they stick with the call made on the field, it will be 3rd down and 10 at their own 25-yard line. And there would still be plenty of time for Florida State maybe to get a stop and get the ball back before halftime.
For taking this amount of time, it can go both ways. You're continuing to evaluate frame by frame, blade of grass by blade of grass, or it's also trying to figure out time, clock, where that ball is going to be set after that reception from Cager. Either way, you'd like to see this go.
Yeah, it's almost as if it takes this long to figure out if he's in or if he's out, then you're not seeing anything definitive, and you should just stay with the call that they make on the field.
Well, the 2 things you've always wanted: turnover backpack and a 60-second replay review clock. You got one so far. I mean, you got the backpack on the sideline that you called a Dora the Explorer turnover backpack. So far, we've not seen the Washuzan replay clock, though.
Yeah, to me, there should be a 60-second clock on the screen for every replay in every sport, and that's the time limit.
After review, the receiver completed the catch and got 1 foot down inbounds. It will be first down at the 45-yard line for Miami.
Wow. So they said that what we saw was indisputable video evidence that was a completed catch. And that is a big break for Miami as they've got the ball out to their own 48-yard line with 1:10 to go before halftime. And still 2 timeouts. Oh, they'll put it at the 45.
Watch that vertical game. We've not seen a lot of those shots down the field, a lot of that based on coverage.
Screen. Travis Homer gets a couple of blocks and delivers contact to the Florida State 48-yard line. He picks up 7. Levante Taylor made the stop. 2 timeouts left for Miami. They're going to use one here.
One of the most physical running backs in college football, Levante Taylor, the corner, not going to back down. He's not going to back down. I think that's probably the 29 minutes, 10 seconds into this game. I think that's probably my overriding thought. Both these teams, I'm not going to back down, which is exactly what you thought with the caliber of competitors that litter these rosters. You talk about, and Lou Holtz would always say it, those points, that momentum, that energy going into half, coming out of half, especially when you don't get the ball. Miami's not going to get it. They had 3 and out to begin this game. These become such critical moments for a redshirt freshman quarterback playing a guy on the other side that's been there and done it.
Florida State won the toss and deferred, so they'll start the third quarter with the ball. Josie Perry out of the pocket. Long throw to the sideline, and might have been throwing that one away more so than thinking he was going to find Mike Harley. As we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. It is a comparison of how both quarterbacks have performed so far in this game. The second career start for N'Kosi Perry, and he has pretty much matched Francois in terms of completions and yards.
Yeah, but it's been the efficiency of Francois, and I think a bunch of misses, unfortunately, on early downs for Perry.
Incomplete for Homer. 3rd down and 3 with 41 seconds to go in the half.
That one again, just a little bit out in front.
Check that 4th and 3, pardon me.
And that's a matchup you want. That's Homer on Brooks. You feel like you should win that one 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 times. And unfortunately for Miami, Mark Richt's going to tell him just slow the clock down a little bit. Just everything feels a little forced and a little rush. And Brooks does enough to force a punt.
I think Mark Richt just called timeout. Now, an interesting call here. It's 4th down and 3, just across the 50-yard line. Florida State is out of timeouts. Is there a reason for Mark Richt to call a timeout here if he's just automatically punting? Is this let's think about this for a second. Maybe it's worth going for it on 4th and 3 and seeing if they can get into field goal range before halftime. They scored a touchdown earlier.
That's right.
Going for it on 4th and 2 in the red zone.
Yeah, 4th and 2, you're like, are they going to snap it? They're going to snap it, not just take the 3 points there, and that aggressive mindset. I said then, I think that that's a call you make for a young quarterback to say, I trust you today in this rivalry and matchup. And if you do that here, well, you're trusting not the last 29 minutes where there's been 7 of 17 completions. I think you punt this ball, you get into halftime, you get yourself kind of gathered together and play, for Miami, have to play a much more efficient second half.
And again, Florida State starts the third quarter with the ball. That's N'Kosi Perry heading back out on the field. So is this a little bit of a panic move before halftime by Miami? Florida State's out of timeouts, but if you don't pick this up, plenty of time for them to get into field goal range before the end of the half. How about going for it on 4th and 3 here? And very late running out on the field is DeeJay Dallas.
It's a high risk call here.
N'Kosi Perry on 4th down on the slant, tipped and incomplete. 36 seconds to go before halftime. And Florida State's got the ball back. Kyle Myers was there to knock that one away.
Yeah, and by the way, I have no idea why that's not men downfield. Denzel Boulware, the left guard, was actually in the throwing lane of that slant. I mean, total miscommunication. Players running on the field late. A lineman 7, 8 yards down the field felt like everybody was just discombobulated there. And by the way, that's 4th and 3, and now you're handing the ball over to the Noles at near midfield.
If you punt there, Florida State takes a knee. They're starting the third quarter with the ball. They've got a 10-point lead. They have no timeouts left. If you punt the ball there, you go into halftime knowing you are only going to be down by 10. Is this going to cost Miami points? The decision that Mark Richt just made to go for it, because now near midfield, DeAndre Francois is going to attack. And he's going to throw the football, looking at a 4-man rush. High throw, Terry pulls it in. Climbing the ladder, Tamari and Terry. And that will stop the clock at the Canes 32-yard line with 30 seconds to go.
How about the response from number 15 right there? Big time.
Francois sacked. And now they have to hurry up. No timeouts left. Down to 15 seconds to go in the half. 10 seconds to go. 6 seconds to go as they spike the football. And would you try a really long field goal from here with Ricky Aguayo? And it looks like they will. This is probably going to be 54, 55 yards, depending on where they spot it.
I'll tell you what, Miami got away with one here. Right in the middle, Jarren Williams, the defensive tackle. Watch the hands to the face right here. In a physical game, they've let the guys play, but that's a call you typically see an umpire and those officials make when the hands get up and jerk the head back like that.
Officially 53 for Aguayo, his career long 51. So this would be a new career high. It's online. It's got the distance by plenty. Ricky Aguayo makes Miami pay for the 4th down conversion that they went for and did not get, and it costs the Canes 3 points before halftime. It's a 13-point lead for Florida State. Now the two teams have to crisscross on their way to opposite locker rooms, and with some of what we saw before the game and even during the game, there's a wall of coaches in between the two rosters to keep them apart as they get to their respective dressing rooms.
What a half a ball by Florida State. That's the best football they have played by a long shot, and it is not a surprise what's at stake in this game and in rivalry moments. And for Miami, they got to collect themselves. Got to get a young quarterback, and they give him a little bit of rhythm. Got to establish that line of scrimmage more.
Let's head down to Allison.
Coach Taggart, we saw the emotions at the beginning of this game. We see him going into half with this kind of lead on the road in a rivalry game. What do you tell your guys?
We got to play smart, and we got to be smart. We're on the road. We're winning right now. We got to play winning football. We can't get into all the jarring and all. That's what losers do, and we got to understand how to win and play like winners.
Offensively, how have you been able to move the ball with a piece-together offensive line against this Miami D?
Well, guys just playing for each other and believing in each other, and guys are going out there straining and just playing football the way we know we're capable of. We got to continue to do that.
Willie, thank you.
A surprising score, and if you've watched Florida State this season play in any of their previous games, a really surprising score at the half by 13. State Farm halftime report after the break.
Welcome to the State Farm Halftime Report.
DeAndre Francois to Keith Gavin on the road. FSU 14-point dogs, now up by 13 at the half, and they're getting the football in the second half. They have the lead against Miami. Another rivalry, the Red River Showdown, 113th meeting. Mac, you know those two guys very well. Oh, yeah, Vince Young and Jamal Charles. And Oklahoma undefeated, 7-point favorites, but Sam Ehlinger to Lil Jordan Humphrey, 15 yards. Texas up 45-24, and then here comes the speed from Kyler Murray.
Yeah, both defenses gave out, and it's a very emotional game, Jonathan. It was very hot, but 2 turnovers by Oklahoma. Sam Ehlinger, 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, ended up being the difference.
Mac,
in the ball
you
game.
mentioned it. That was it right there. The turnovers in the game. We see Trey Sermon on the 7-yard touchdown, but that was a 14-point swing, and that's why Oklahoma did not win.
Guys, we're tied at 45. How about this throw from Ehlinger? 18 yards, first down. What a play.
Yeah, Sam's really grown up. He's matured. He's running the ball well, but more than anything else, he's taking care of the ball and being a leader on this team.
14 seconds to go. We're tied up at 45 from 40 yards out. It is Cameron Dicker, the freshman from Austin. 6 extra points, 2 field goals, a perfect afternoon. He's the hero.
Did you ever think throughout the week leading up to this game, this one may come down to my leg?
Honestly, not really. I was just going through the week like every normal week. Today I had a feeling I was going to have this kick, and so I'm happy to go out there and do it.
Did Coach Herman or anybody on the team say anything to you right before you lined up to kick that ball?
No, I think they know that to leave a kicker alone, so it was good that they let me be and let me go do my thing.
Great job, Cameron.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome.
Alex Loeb with the interview. The 48 points for Texas today, marking its most in 113 all-time meetings against Oklahoma. As the guy to my left could tell you, the Longhorns went on to have big seasons after the other 2 games on this list. They won the national title in 2005, finished 12-1 in 2008. Good flashbacks, huh?
Yes, the golden hat's really heavy, and it's too small and it hurts your head, and you love it. You love having it. If you're going to coach at Texas or OU, you got to have it in your building.
Yeah.
And heroes are made out of this game. They're already calling this the kick, and they're calling Dicker the kicker. I mean, they're getting all kind of names. But good win for Tom Herman in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They got out too far, gave into it a little bit. Give Oklahoma credit for coming back, but great drive at the end to win. Whoever had the ball last was going to win.
How bad of a loss is this for Oklahoma and the Big 12? ESPN's playoff predictor, with that loss, OU's playoff chances dropped from 34 to 14 for the Big 12, 55% to 38% now that the Sooners have a loss. Meanwhile, Ohio State, another undefeated, 26.5-point favorites, number 3 in the land, taking on Indiana. Dwayne Haskins, J.K. Dobbins. Great one-handed catch. Dobbins, the handoff here. You're wondering, okay, after that emotional win against Penn State, is Ohio State in trouble here, JV?
Yes, they are in trouble. They're still sleepwalking, and not so much offensively, but defensively as well. We're watching the highlights. Dwayne Haskins here to a nice pass to Johnny Dixon. But defensively, they need to wake up. Indiana is playing very hard, and they're leading right now.
Yeah, Indiana, led by Peyton Ramsey, 4-1 coming into this game, finding Nick Westbrook, and now the Hoosiers, how about that, up 17-14.
Well, Indiana's better than you think at 4-1, and obviously they're more excited about this game than Ohio State.
Buckeyes would respond in the shoe. Haskins to Paris Campbell. OSU has won 23 straight in this series right now, only up by 8.
It'll be 24.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. All right, meanwhile, LSU number 5 in the land, in the swamp. Tim Tebow on hand, being added to the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, why didn't they do this sooner?
Yeah, it's maybe a scheduling thing, but
maybe.
It's been a decade, right? And it's the first sellout at the swamp in 3 years. Eddie O watching on, and LSU gets on the board first. Nick Brosette, 4 yards.
This was a great way to start the drive, to start the game for LSU, to set the tone. Florida has responded since, but I like the back-and-forth matchup between the two teams.
La'Mical Perine going in now, but how about this? Florida has done a pretty good job of keeping LSU out of the end zone after that. Feleipe Franks to Morrell. Stevens right there, and right now it is Florida up 14-10. Early parts of the second half. Meanwhile, number 1 Alabama versus Arkansas. Yeah, both teams didn't have a lot of fun.
No,
sorry.
only Alabama had
He was an Arkansas
exactly.
fan.
You know how the second team and the third team for Alabama had fun because we saw a lot of them on this field because Henry Ruggs, come on, scoop and score off the fumble.
Yeah, that's hard to work on in practice and get the bounce exactly right. But the difference in this game is listen to this stat now, folks. 18 touchdowns this year, only 25 incompletions, and no interceptions.
It's not fair.
That's unheard of.
He gets help from guys like Jerry Jeudy just sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown.
78 straight wins against unranked opponents for Bama. They would roll. Meanwhile, number 4, Clemson against Wake Forest. And we saw last week, they got back on track because of the run game, JV.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite running backs, Travis Etienne. I love when he touches the ball. Good things happen. Touchdowns happen. They're going to have to rely on the run game and on the defense if they want to make it to the playoffs.
And when you have a controversy like you did with Bryant leaving last week, your team steps up. They either split apart or pull together. It looks like Clemson's pulling together and moving forward as a team.
Trevor Lawrence are looking very good in this one. How about 173 yards? Right now, Clemson up 35-0. Michigan, they had a slow start after a weather delay, but the offense got back on track. Meanwhile, one of their rivals struggling at home. A shocker, we'll tell you after this.
The State Farm Halftime Report is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Welcome back to the State Farm Halftime Report.
Kevin Mack, JV back with you. Northwestern at number 20, Michigan State. Northwestern 1-3. We're trying to make sense out of this game, JV.
I can't make sense out of it. This is the most resilient 1-3 Northwestern team I've seen. Blew a 14-point lead. Didn't matter. Rushed for 8 yards. Didn't matter. Turned the ball over. Didn't matter. They still found a way to win this game, Matt.
No, you got to give credit, Pat. Fitzgerald just hanging in there and being positive.
How?
I know.
These are days when Mac is happy he's here.
Yeah.
Northwestern
The
is
reason
on
I
the
look
win.
so old and tired.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, Michigan State has Penn State and Michigan next on the schedule, and Michigan, a slow start with their offense, but after the weather delay, they got back on track. Shea Patterson, Karan Higdon looking very good. Michigan hosting Wisconsin on ABC primetime a week from tonight as they double up Maryland. More after this.
The ESPN app now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now. The State Farm Halftime Report is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right.
DeAndre Francois, a couple touchdowns. Here's one that Tamorian Terry, FSU up by 13 and getting the ball to open up the second half at Miami. That's coming up after this.
Welcome back to college football presented by Walmart. And welcome back to the ACC on ABC. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams set for the start of the second half between Florida State and Miami. Quickly, a look at our first half stats brought to you by Experian Identity Protection. And Florida State pretty good on third down, and they dominated field position.
Yeah, I think that's the big key there. Miami, the #1 third down defense in America, and in a group offensively that really fixed so many of those issues from a year ago. I mean, last year, that was their challenge, especially in these games and losses, is finding third down conversions. And I'm finding a young quarterback that's got to find his rhythm, right? Got to find some of his confidence and belief here in the second half, and that's going to be on Mark Richt and his staff. And they knew it. I guarantee you Mark Richt knew there's going to be some adversity today, especially for a young guy in this rivalry game in this moment. And they had a halftime to try to figure some of that out.
We expected a lot more adversity, though, for Florida State. Having watched them on tape, as much as they've struggled so far this season, how surprised are you that they have been this competitive? And not just competitive, but comfortably in front.
Field position helps. They've taken advantage of it. They haven't turned the ball over. They haven't hurt themselves with a lot of penalties. And DeAndre Francois can play. I mean, we knew that coming into this game. The single best player in this stadium is DeAndre Francois. He's got the track record to do it. He's beaten these guys, in fact, here a couple years ago. And you see him, I think, playing with a tremendous amount of confidence and getting the ball out of his hands.
And the Noles start the third quarter with the ball. And we will start the third quarter with a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
And they were howling early, man. They were barking back and forth. They were barking throughout that first half. You knew that was going to happen, and it was Francois that delivered the first touchdown to Gavin, the first of his career there at Florida State. And then Terry's come back. He's got 5. He's got 3 in the last 3 games, and you see the confidence and the connection that Francois played with in that first 30 minutes.
And the unsung heroes, that group of 5 up front, I would think, for Florida State. Very surprised at how well their offensive line held up in the first half. Will that continue in the second half? Good pocket for Francois. Tipped ball, incomplete, intended for Terry. Allison?
Well, I talked to a very calm Mark Richt at the half. He said his team has to execute better, and they have to focus on doing the little things, blocking better, tackling better, punting the ball with some extra hang time. As far as the emotions in this game that we have seen on full display from the start, he said guys just need to settle down and just focus on doing their job, not get caught up in all that.
Little zone read to Cam Akers. And it will be third down and long for Florida State.
And these were some of the situations when you look at those conversions they stayed out of. They had a 3rd and 14 on their opening drive, but they were finding more success on first down, averaging nearly 5 yards a play on first down for more manageable situations to keep the crowd out of it and try to keep some of that pass rush off Francois.
Five-man rush to the sideline. Francois incomplete. Threw it behind Naquan Murray and took a hit as well.
That's Big Joe Jackson, 99. He could feel that the entire way. 2 edge rushers for Miami. They'll rotate guys through. He's at the top of your screen, and he gets right by Brady Scott. Right tackle having to play left tackle today because of so many of the injuries. And credit Joe Jackson for that 3 and out.
It is Logan Tyler back on the field to punt as he was shaken up at the end of the first half. And DeeJay Dallas deep to receive. Jeff Thomas normally the punt returner, but he was shaken up in the first half, and Miami nearly got there to block it. Dallas up against the sideline. Bumped out at the 40. Close to a block. All 15 schools all on one network. A new place to call home. It's the ACC network. And it's coming in August of 2019.
I think run, play, pass is coming. You know Mark Richt and what he wants to do. I think you're going to see and feel a whole lot more of that in the second half.
Play action pass on first down. Perry can't avoid the sack. Brian Burns takes him down for a 5-yard loss.
And that's first down woes. And I like some of the mix. They've taken some shots on first down. They've tried to run it, a little bit of play pass. But 1.9 yards of play. That's an area where Florida State has so struggled through the first 5 games this season. And you talk to Mark Richt and any of these coaches, get that average on first down, you get behind the chains, and you just make your life much more difficult. And that -5 will only make that number worse.
Travis Homer bounces for nothing. Third down and 15.
And Merry Christmas. Big DeMarcus right in the middle right there. He just owns Hayden Mahoney, the right guard. And I got to tell you, if you'd watched the 5 games leading up to this, Bob, the coaches tape of all of them, you would have seen a Florida State group that was so much more aggressive, that was stunting themselves, I think, out of a lot of just positive plays. That's not the case today. They have been just very secure. Big Christmas in there, owning the middle of the line.
Very well protected, at least for the moment, but then the pocket collapses again. Marvin Wilson, the 2nd sack in this series. And the Canes offense goes limping back to the sideline.
Well, it was Christmas, the run stuffer, and it's Marvin Wilson, one of the top D-tackle recruits a season ago, coming right into your living room. Well, that may be a penalty in the NFL. It isn't at this level. Big man. He's made his presence felt today, showing up.
Wobbly punt, takes a Miami roll, and fielded on a hop by DeeJay Matthews. And gets loose! DeeJay Matthews! Down the sideline! Does he stay in bounds? At the pylon! Touchdown! Official right on top of the play ruled that he stayed in bounds all the way down the sideline. They are shocked here in Miami. The Noles have a 20-point lead. And they've done it in all 3 phases.
Sure have. A little okey-doke, a little pause right there. These Seminoles were ready to play, much to the frustration of the Hurricanes fans.
DeeJay Matthews had a big punt return in the first half that set up the short field and resulted in a Florida State touchdown. This time Rocky does it himself, a little okey-doke at the start of the return.
You know how much courage that takes? Because those guys are flying down the field. And Brian Knowles right there is staring at him, and the courage to just pause right there. And you see that in kickoff returns. Maybe it's a little fumble on a return and just sets everything up, especially when you've got the explosion that he has.
Returnable for DeeJay Dallas on the 5. He breaks a tackle and then gets gang tackled at the 28-yard line. this season for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities. Allstate will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you to Allstate.
I think just the two things that are running through my mind here at 27-7 are courage, which we have seen on full display by the Seminoles today. Francois, the young wide receiver bouncing back, Terry, that time Matthews, just the courage to just play physical and lights out no matter what you've done in the past at 3 and 2. And then just also the energy here and the confidence that Florida State's playing with, and Miami's got to find in a hurry.
Play action on first down. N'Kosi Perry takes off and gets spun down for a first down. He picked up 11.
Guys, this Miami team is getting frustrated. They desperately need a spark, something positive to get the energy up. I've been watching them on the sideline. It's been relatively quiet. You've seen guys frustrated, but they're trying to be positive. And, so often we've seen the defense spark this team. That's what Trajan Bandy's trying to do. He was over talking to the offensive linemen, trying to get them fired up, telling them this isn't over. We can just need one score. We're back in this.
Oh, they've got a ton of time as they go play action, or rather a draw play here to Homer. And he picks up 6.5. We got 11 minutes to go in the third quarter.
I'll tell you one little spark you made is you made a change up front. You have slid Navon Donaldson, who started at right tackle all year, into right guard. And then you've brought in DJ Scaife, the true freshman there, number 51. That is a change after Mahoney got blasted on that last series, to add a little bit of size and strength and ferocity to that side of your line.
Wide open in the right flat. Trayon Gray. And Miami starts to get a little momentum going offensively as they cross the 50 with a gain of 13.
And there is so much time. There should be no panic whatsoever. And the full playbook is open to you, but I like that move. I like moving Donaldson in. He is a big physical guy, because winning at the line of scrimmage is where it all starts. Imposing your will in this system is a must.
Travis Homer. Caught behind the line and driven back. Lost 2.5.
Speaking of driven back, that is exactly where Trayon Gray ended up. Dontavius Jackson, an inside stunt there. Gray, tailback playing fullback. He can't stop Jackson. Beautiful catch on the little flat route play action, but that isolation on the linebacker. Credit Jackson for the win.
Homer tries the right side, looks to cut it back to the left side, and ends up in a sea of white, garnet, and gold. DeMarcus Christmas comes through for the 10th tackle for loss this afternoon for Florida State, and now it's third down and a mile.
When at that point of attack, just watch this. A great shot here, and it's all about sealing the edge, and then look at the inside penetration. I mean, there is nowhere to go. Where do you want Homer to go? There is nowhere to go. It's sealed on the edge, and then you're just blown back 2-3 yards. Seminoles dominating the line of scrimmage right now.
Homer picks up 4 on third down and 16, and the crowd does not like what they think is a very conservative play call, but Mark Richt is going to play field position and see if Jack Spicer, the punter, can pin the Noles deep.
That call is 100% about what's going on at the line of scrimmage on both of those series. 100% that line of scrimmage being dominated and dictated to by the Noles. Force that play call.
The end over end kick. Fielded at the 5-yard line. Not a fair catch by DJ Matthews. And this time the okey doke doesn't work quite as well as he gets out to about the 12-yard line. Midway through the third quarter, Florida State with the football and a 3-score lead.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA, and Chick-fil-A Nuggets. Tonight is Nugget Night.
They're There have been plenty of moments of disappointment for Florida State fans over the years. Wide right became the two words that most symbolize this rivalry for a long time. That has not been the case today. The Noles on top, 27-7 in a shocking score midway through the third. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart and Allison Williams. Florida State starts at their own 11. Cam Akers submarines up the middle and has a first down.
Just look at the difference. I mean, look at the difference at the line of scrimmage. Look at Minshew. I highlighted him earlier. I mean, you're just winning. You're moving people off the line. Allowing your running backs to get started.
Ball tipped up in the air on the wide receiver screen that was read by Jonathan Garvin. And he was that close to a pick six.
Spider-Man.
He saw that coming from a mile away. We talked about it, Brock, while we were away, how important this series of downs is for the Miami defense after they made the decision to call it conservatively at midfield and punt.
You're counting on your number one pass defense, your number one third down defense, one of the top takeaway defenses to make that decision pay off.
Akers. To the 27-yard line, maybe the 28. A gain of 4 brings up a big third down. Play action. Francois to the sideline. Timing route. And Gavin comes back to make the catch with a late flag down after he had already picked up the first down. And there are 2 flags down. There's also a penalty marker in the offensive backfield.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, offense number 74. Personal foul, targeting, defense number 25. Those penalties offset. The previous play is under review.
That's Derek Smith called for targeting. The penalty's offset, but they have to go to replay to see if Smith should stay in the game.
Yeah, and your holding call is going to be right here on Derek Kelly as he's just got to grab Garvin.
So we'll step aside and see if Derek Smith stays in the game when we come back. Derek Smith is indeed out of the game. While we were away, replay confirmed the targeting call. So he is ejected, but those penalties did offset, so it's still third down.
Yeah, we've had a few different replays today. A call stands, turned over. There's no question that that's confirmation. You just cannot do that. That's the hit you're taking out of football.
But because of the holding penalty called against the Noles, the targeting penalty offsets. So third down and 6 all over again. Blitz off the edge. Francois doesn't see it. The ball's out. Is the turnover chain going to make an appearance? Sheldrick Redwine came on the blitz. Miami football. And the camera crew is heading over there to start the photo session. As you can see, all those fluorescent yellow vests getting in position. So they are set almost like the paparazzi as Gerald Willis puts the chain on.
There is nothing that this stadium and this team needed more than that right there. A beautifully timed blitz. Francois doesn't see it and feel it, and it sets the Canes up in the red zone.
They'll run it with DeeJay Dallas. And DeeJay Dallas picks up a yard.
And you can hear the frustration in this building. That run game has just netted nothing in first down mess. Look at the blitz. Look at the time. And look, Cam Akers does all he can to knock out Romeo Finley, but he doesn't know Sheldrick's coming right behind. That is well designed, Manny Diaz. At just the time the Hurricanes so desperately needed it.
Option pass. DeeJay Dallas to the end zone. Incomplete. Flag out. D. Wiggins through the flag. And it looks like Kyle Myers guilty again.
I was in position there. Talked to you earlier about Michael Jackson, who is a veteran guy that just trusts himself. Ball's in the air. He doesn't panic.
Pass interference. Defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So many times you see that on a double pass because they're chasing and they have to interfere. Kyle Myers didn't bite. He is right there in the pocket of the true freshman. When the ball gets in the air, that is when you just have to trust yourself more than anything. You just can't grab. Once you grab and you turn a player, you're going to get that call against you.
First and goal at the 4 in a spot where Miami has to have a touchdown. You kick a field goal here, it's still a 3-possession game.
Watch QB draw. Such a big element of their scheme over the last couple years.
Here's the QB draw. Perry pays the price, fighting for a yard or so. Gets a late push from his teammates, but now the officials say the play is over. And they may mark him down with not much real estate gained at all. Sam Nasruldeen came up and made the stop.
And if I knew it was coming, so did Florida State, because that's been such a big part of their scheme. And Nasruldeen, man, he pulls the trigger. He did not hesitate whatsoever as those Knowles were flying. Now, Mark Richt will also call that again. He is not afraid to come back to that well. It's really a numbers count read for the quarterback.
Perry lobs one, back of the end zone, through the back of the end zone. And incomplete for Wiggins. Now it's 3rd down and goal at the 4-yard line. And Brock, I would have to think this is 4-down territory. You're looking 2 cracks at the end zone here?
Yep. I'd like to get this youngster on the move. I think things are flying around pretty fast in that pocket. You see the timing just a little bit off. I think with young quarterbacks, the time they try with the QB run early, that play action movement may not be a bad play either.
Another lob for Cager. Broken up. Now it's 4th down. Asante Samuel was there.
The true freshman from St. Thomas Aquinas. His pops, again, watching. We've called his name a bunch of times. And you know what he did there? He didn't allow the big body to box him out. If you're undersized, then it's all about your timing and ripping that football away. Do not let that big man post you up. That's well done.
Again, a field goal, and you're down by 17. Still down 3 scores. So Miami knows they've got to have a touchdown going for it on 4th down. Another lob for Cager. Does he have it this time? A wrestling match for the football. And Cager wins it for a Miami touchdown.
That time the big man wins. That time he is able to post up. See, he gets Samuel right there on his hip. Much like that entry pass to a big man in basketball. The first time the little guy got underneath it, scrapped it and pulled it away. And that time Cager uses his body, which he has done so effectively in his 2nd touchdown today.
Florida State hadn't given up a 4th down conversion this season before today. They have given up 2 touchdowns, both on 4th down conversions. And that's the only reason Miami is in the game. And we've got flags thrown after the point after attempt.
Who's in for a 4-hour battle royale? My goodness. And listen to this stadium. That turnover chain has been so instrumental in so much of the success around here over the last couple seasons. That sack fumble, enormous.
This must be a penalty against Florida State because Mark Richt is having the options explained.
During the try, personal foul, leaping, defense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
So Miami will kick it off from midfield when we come back. And now a 2-score game.
Cassidy Hubbard with your studio update back to Columbus, where Ohio State is back in control. Dwayne Haskins to Paris Campbell in the flat, and he takes off. 71-yard touchdown. Haskins with 4 touchdown passes so far. Buckeyes up 35-20, guys.
All right, Cassidy, thanks very much. Florida State has been in control for a good portion of this game. But another touchdown scored on a 4th down conversion by Miami, and a personal foul for leaping on the point after attempt. So here's the kick from midfield. This is going to go right through the back of the end zone. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams here at Hard Rock Stadium. And tomorrow, Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Odell Beckham sounds off on the Giants' 1-3 start. Why their game plan isn't getting him the ball enough. Plus, A-Rod and Patrick Mahomes discuss how A-Rod's influence helped a young Mahomes reach the big league. Sunday, NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Players feast off that turnover chain, and so does this crowd.
Play action, Francois. Happy feet in the pocket, and down he goes. Pat Bethel.
Happy feet because the Spider-Man, Mr. Garvin, is right in his lap. Unblockable right now. Unblockable.
Middle screen, and it's intercepted! Michael Pinckney. He read that tight end middle screen like a book, jumped the route, and the Canes have it back.
He read the guards, and then he read the tight ends. The first giveaway, the guards on the little screen, and you're not going to get me twice. That was a 3rd and 14 call. Big time players make big time plays in big time games.
N'Kosi Perry lobbing one for the end zone. Jeff Thomas, touchdown! 2 touchdowns in 42 seconds. And the Canes with the pick. The turnover chain reappears. Jeff Thomas. We got a 1-score game. Back in 30 seconds. Deafening as Miami kicks off again, now down only by 6. Anthony Grant will take a knee, and you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. It is electric on that Miami sideline, Brock. But now take me to that Florida State sideline. In that offensive huddle, how do you stabilize your team if you're really Taggart and get this game back? You're still on top, and you probably have to realize that.
That's exactly what he screamed in the huddle to those Seminoles. You've got to show boys. DeAndre, you're the redshirt junior. Those last couple takeaways have awakened this place, but you can still quiet it.
Again. Jarren Williams living in the backfield.
It's been a little bit more of the guys on the outside, Jackson and Garvin. But Willis wants to join the party. After all, he's number 1 on this team in tackles for loss.
Francois trying to do it himself and gets across the 30-yard line. That's a good run by DeAndre Francois. He's about 3 yards shy of the first down. Big third down. And a big first down catch by Trey McKitty. And that quiets the crowd a bit as DeAndre Francois comes through for 9 yards.
You almost get a sense Francois loves it. He loves being backed up and getting hit in the adversity and taking it head on.
Amir Rasul, who's now changed numbers, lost the ball and jumps back on top of it. Rasul normally wears number 22. Must have had a jersey issue on the sideline. He's now wearing 36. He also lost 2.5 yards.
Boys, right in the teeth of this chaos.
Francois, long time to throw over the middle. And a flag thrown from the secondary for the hit. Naquan Murray was laid out by Jaquan Johnson. And the flag was thrown right after the big hit.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 4. The previous player is under review.
And they'll take another look. Johnson was pointing to his shoulder as if to say that was a legal hit.
And I think it is. That's a second level window throw. That is a throw late over the middle, and Jaquan is going for the football. And Ed Reed, who was honored and put in the Hall of Fame today, made a living doing just that, punishing guys. If you're going to run late across the middle, he didn't lead with his head. That shoulder hits his shoulder. He's absolutely attacking the football. This cannot be targeting.
And it is a huge call because not only would Miami lose to Quan Johnson, but rather than it being 3rd down and about 13 on the incompletion, it would be an automatic first down and a 15-yard foul going Florida State's way.
Defenseless player, yes. Is that forcible contact to the head or neck area? I see forcible contact to the shoulder. I see a safety that is running and trying to make a play.
After review, there is no foul for targeting. He's on the play with an incomplete pass. He can throw it down.
Obviously, the replay booth saw the same thing you did.
Yeah. And I can understand it from a back judge. That thing happens so fast back there, and the reaction in that player and that receiver, that defenseless player, they got it right in the booth. And the stadium's got it right with this kind of noise. Man, this is unbelievable.
3rd down and long. Another screen. Diagnosed immediately. Amari Carter jumps up and makes the stop. A loss of 2. And here comes the FSU punt group. Wobbly kick to the sideline and short as Logan Tyler did not hit that one well. There is a flag thrown after the play was over as we've got another altercation that has to be broken up by the officials. Only a 23-yard punt, and depending on the penalty, this could be a huge field position swing one way or the other.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 1. That's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, be first down.
So that does hurt Miami's field position a bit. They'll still have the ball, though, with pretty good field position, now down only by 6. Allison?
Bob, we have seen some hard hits tonight, and some of them have come from tonight's hardest working player, brought to you by Wrangler. It's Jarren Williams. You saw him rocking the turnover chain earlier. He has turned around his life. You know, he took all of last year off from football. He was dealing with some personal issues and some family issues and just felt like he wasn't able to focus on football, had to make those a priority. But he said it made him come back stronger, it made him work harder, and boy, has he shown up big for the Canes tonight. That is tonight's Wrangler Player Spotlight.
Here's DeeJay Dallas. He's caught behind the line and dropped, but the activity of that front 4 has changed the game for Miami.
Yep, Florida State was dominating it, and up 27-7. But that group gets the sack fumble. That group gets the penetration and leads and helps lead to an interception. And that group, along with that turnover chain, they are the engine that has driven this program really over the last 2 years.
Travis Homer back in. That's DeeJay Dallas. He's hurt. He just limped off to the sideline. Now it's the front 4 for Florida State getting home. Frederick Jones with a sack of N'Kosi Perry.
And if you're Frederick Jones and you're that Seminole group, I assure you on the sidelines, they're saying, we're good. We're still up. Right, we've dominated this game when we've gotten our opportunities defensively. I know the short fields have hurt us the last 2 times, but once again, imposing their will, a number of those Noles on that defensive line.
We still have a quarter to go. Whew. Amazing. 6-point lead for the Noles as we head to the
4th. It's a game that you come to Florida State for. Everyone wants to play, and that's why you come to Miami.
And if you're not ready to play this week, it's There's nothing I can tell you. It's because it's a rivalry game. It's intense. Everybody feels it a little bit different. This is a game where everybody can be remembered.
And make a name for yourself. Losing to these guys, I had to hear it all year. I'm not trying to deal with that this year.
Just another Saturday afternoon between Florida State and Miami. Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewert, Allison Williams at Hard Rock Stadium. The start of the fourth quarter. Third down and long for Miami. And a false start.
False start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, third down.
And that's a true freshman Scaife that I guarantee you, as those linebackers walk up into the gap, he's thinking about his assignments. What do I got to do? First time ever in this moment, right on this stage with the energy in this place. We've done a lot of games, man. This is about as good as it gets.
How conservative do you think Miami is with their play call here? They're going to throw it. Kosi Perry under pressure and gets it to the sideline and throws it away. Well done by the redshirt freshman to avoid a sack. And now Miami will count on Jack Spicer to try and change field position.
These O-lines are having a hard time, real hard time. Handling the fronts of both of these groups. 12 tackles for loss for the Noles, 9 for the Hurricanes. And defensive lines and front sevens are having an awful lot of fun today.
They'll have an awful lot of fun tonight at Lane Stadium for that one. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. The nightcap coming up next. Really good kick from Spicer. Up the sideline. Where did it sail out of bounds? He nailed it, but that may have floated over the sideline with good field position and then some. Out to the 48-yard line as we step aside.
Your studio update. LSU up 5 on Florida until La'Mical Perine scores the second TD of the day. They win for 2, didn't get it, so Florida up 20-19 in the fourth. Bob?
All right, Cassidy, thanks very much as we take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Capital One. Rivalry games. How about the Red River? Did that produce? And so far, Miami, Florida State has done just that as well. Cam Akers cuts it back to the right, gets to the second level, and gets a first down, a gain of 11. And DeAndre Francois once again to play with tempo.
Use all of that aggressiveness against them. Right, that cutback there, allow all that fast flow to go, and those guys are just reading and reacting and cut it back against the grain.
Screen. DeeJay Matthews makes a man miss. He's got 3 yards.
That DeeJay Matthews has got one sick little okey-doke crossover. I bet he's a pretty good hooper. He had the punt return touchdown earlier, and you just see he plants that foot in the ground and he changes guys' direction.
Only a sophomore. Same play to the near side. Matthews, is that a sideways backwards pass? He drops it into Gavin. Flag down. The trick play produces a touchdown if it wasn't a forward pass.
This is oh so close.
Illegal forward pass. Offense. There were 2 forward passes on the play. 5-yard penalty. Also includes a loss of down. This is third down.
And you see Francois plants his foot. He throws it at the 30, just about right on the 35-yard line. Matthews has got to find a way to just get back. You can't even make this close. And I love that he has been so patient at times. Man, that is close. But you can't even leave a benefit. You got to just rush back and make sure that's a backwards pass because everything was set up so beautifully.
Almost directly parallel, but they rule it just slightly forward. So instead of a touchdown, it's third down and long. Francois wide open to guess who? DeeJay Matthews. And he's got a first down.
Times have I said courage today. If it was a drinking game, it'd probably an awful lot. But that's exactly what so many of these guys are showing. In Francois, more than anybody else, a blitz right in his teeth, right at his legs, and he delivers.
I'll keep it on the ground here with Akers. Cut down at the line. They have fallen forward for a yard.
You know, Willie talked an awful lot about his relationship with DeAndre Francois and the hard conversations he had about being a great teammate and getting back on campus and really giving to your teammates, not being selfish. And my goodness gracious, does this guy give everything he has as a player.
There goes Francois. Now, would you continue to play with tempo, with the lead, in field goal range here if you were Florida State?
Yeah, I would right now. You get inside of 4 or 5 minutes, we're having a different situational conversation, but this is what you do. This mitigates some of that rush and some of that crowd as best you possibly can.
Francois, incomplete. Trey McKitty, the intended receiver. He was tied up with Amari Carter. No flag comes out. So
Yeah,
with
he wanted
12:47 to go, it's 4th down, and it'll be a field goal try.
And he wanted one, and Carter was really aggressive with contact there. But they are largely letting these guys play tonight.
Before halftime, Ricky Aguayo made from 53 a new career high. This one from 43, and this is a crucial kick. This to make it a 2-possession game again. No good. Well wide left.
Wide left.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And in part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
With Brock Ewart, I'm Bob Wischusen. Allison Williams with us here as well. Where else would you rather be than Florida State Miami close in the 4th quarter? Wow.
That's what it's been. 14 of the last 17 times, a 1-possession affair.
Perry back to throw. Mistimed the out route to Jeff Thomas.
Speaking of timing, Willie Taggart had a long conversation with the white hat during the break. And I'm going to guess it's about this. This is what he wanted. They set it up so beautifully. You have sat on this play all game, and this is a touchdown. It's 34-21. And Willie frustrated, feeling like that ball was directly down the line. You wait on that, man. You sit in that, your back pocket. You have planned and waited for that play. And just 6 inches off.
Jumping the route was Brian Burns. And now it's 3rd down and 10.
I'll add last 2 details because I think it was that significant a play. DeAndre, you've got to just step up a little bit. You have got to ensure, if you can, your receiver has to sell it. Brian Burns, an awesome job here of feeling the timing of that route. And then Matthews as well, the wide receiver, has got to make sure, as much as you want to sell it, you got to do those fundamental things first, as Mr. Burns has done all afternoon long. What a brilliant game once again from the best Seminole defender.
Perry, deep shot up the seam, climbing the ladder. Jeff Thomas between 2 defenders. He's got it. What a strike from Perry to Thomas for a 1st down.
Speed never slumps, and look at him. He is still hurting from that kickoff return earlier in this game. But it is his speed. 2 deep safeties, man underneath, 1 spot to throw it, and that is a throw that you only make as a young quarterback if you trust your receiver is going to go up and get it.
I can't even believe N'Kosi Perry could see Jeff Thomas there. From our Skycam look, he disappeared. Just threw it to a spot. What a great throw. He wants another deep shot. Drops it in. At the goal line. That's a Canes touchdown. Brevin Jordan, the tight end, got deep. Bubba Baxa breaks the tie. Wow. What else have we got in the last 11:52? Welcome back to college football, presented by Walmart. That's N'Kosi Perry's 4th touchdown pass. Gives the Canes the lead.
Players, formations, plays. How do I get my guy that I want to get the ball in the best situation? With the safety 20 yards deep. Those are the players. That's the play. There's the formation to spread it out, but ultimately it's the eyes. It's the eyes in N'Kosi Perry. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes in that senior safety 20 yards deep. He can't be right. He can't be right. And that is a redshirt freshman that's grown up over the course of these 60 minutes, Bob. That if he stares at the middle of the field or he looks at Brevin, there is no chance where A.J. Westbrook is lined up. But instead, he looks the safety out. He's got the matchup on Brooks that he wants to feast upon. And he does for the biggest play yet, with still 11 minutes to go.
How do the Noles respond now that they've lost the lead? And how does Notre Dame and Virginia Tech respond tonight? Right here on ABC, a top 25 matchup in Blacksburg. The Irish and the Hokies, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere.
And I hope for Herbie and Chris, Maria, and all involved there that Blacksburg is alive. South Florida is tonight.
That's one tough customer, though, dropping back in the shotgun here. Now down a point. DeAndre Francois back to work. They start on the ground with a run right up the middle. And it maybe gains a yard and a half.
Jonathan Garvin has played his best game as a Cane. As you see Derek Kelly there just fighting to stay in this game, a game-time decision, been hobbling and battling, but that young sophomore, if this is a game where you make your name, just put it on the map.
Francois, the rush gets home again. He lost the football. Joe Jackson knocks it out, and here comes the chain again. This has to feel like a tidal wave if you're on that Seminole sideline.
And that is just a really difficult matchup.
Now they are going to replay to make sure that Francois' arm was not coming forward. The ball popped out, went forward. Is there any chance that they would rule that an incomplete pass? I'm sure that just drew the eyes of the replay officials on such a big play, and they want to take another look. But it was ruled a fumble and a recovery by UM on the field.
And Brady Scott, a redshirt freshman, flipped over from the right side against the senior Joe Jackson. That's close.
It is close.
How many times have we said that tonight? 6? Is the arm going forward? It's going back, 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 back.
Is the arm going forward because he's trying to throw the ball, or is the arm going forward because his arm naturally jerks forward because it gets hit by Joe Jackson. In which case that would not be a pass attempt. It would not be an incompletion.
Well, that is really close. And the Seminole fan is saying, hold on just a second. How many of these tonight have just gone the way of the other side? The backwards pass that was right down the line of scrimmage. And again, what is called on the field is so critical here. Called as a fumble. He gets hit. It looks like he has control when he gets hit. And then the arm comes forward as the ball comes out. That was not one of those situations where you see at times guys get hit and the ball just comes out. He's still possessing it as he gets hit and the arm comes forward, the ball comes out.
If you were in that replay booth, what would you rule? Would you make that an incomplete pass? And just your indecision almost means you have to stay with the call on the field.
You almost see different views that create different opinions, which is again why more than likely that call on the field, had it been called the other way on the field, Bob, I think I sit up here and say, yep, that's going to stand. He has control. I mean, that's the thing to me. He has control of the ball after he gets hit and then it comes forward. I won't be surprised they change this.
After review, the passer's arm was moving forward with control of the pass. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass. It will be third down at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Push comes to shove up in the replay booth, and I got to do it to the letter of the law, and that's why I hesitate, because typically you just can't assume. You get hit like that, you think the ball's flying out, but DeAndre possessed it. He possessed it, and he continued to possess it. The arm goes forward when the ball comes out, and by the letter of the law, and for the first time tonight, Florida State feels like, man, it went our way. A tidal wave of emotion and playmaking the other side for the last 15 or 20 minutes. Let's see if they can take advantage of this.
New life for the Noles, but still faced with third down and 8. Francois rifles one over the middle, but it's deflected. Shaq Quarterman got a hand on it, and it will be fourth down. So Miami doesn't get the takeaway, but they do get the stop, and they're about to get the ball back.
This had a chance.
Pinckney with a hand up.
Yeah, it was Quarterman right underneath it. That had a chance if that ball had just a little bit more loft. I like the action in the backfield. I like motioning guys out. You've got to create some sense of thought with the front right now that is simply pinning their ears back.
Jeff Thomas drops it inside his own 20. Picks it back up. He's at the 10. Gets outside. Gets a block. Out of bounds. All the way out near the 45-yard line. Wow.
Baller.
And a field position change as we go back to Cassidy.
Thanks, Bob. Number 5 LSU in trouble. Down 1 to Florida. And Joe Burrow picked off, and Brad Stewart returns at 25 yards for the score. Burrow's first interception of his college career, and it's a costly one. Gators up 27-19 with a minute to play, guys.
We still have 10:41 to go in the fourth quarter here.
You got enough gas left in your tank?
It's amazing. Miami trailed 27-7, and then their defense took this game to a different place. Travis Homer out to the 47-yard line.
And so did their young freshman quarterback. He took him to a different place. And on fourth down, Mark Richt empowered him down in the goal line. Empowered him, put the ball in his hands for a draw and 3 straight throws. Empowered him with a shot down the field to another true freshman. We're having conversations up in this booth at 27-7. What do you do? I mean, how do you ignite this thing? The defense helped, but this kid has delivered.
Homer for a cutback lane. Gets across the midfield stripe. 2 yards shy of a first down.
Bob N'Kosi Perry out there as just a redshirt freshman. And Mark Richt said he's not a mature leader, but he has good leadership traits. He kind of has this spark about him. And you can see it tonight. He's smiling. He's composed throughout this game. And before he took the field, he went up to his guys on offense, pounding on their shoulder pads and said, look, we fought all the way back, but we are not done fighting yet.
Well, our ESPN recruiting guys had him as the number 3 dual threat quarterback a couple of years ago, behind Tua Tagovailoa and Kellen Mond. 3rd down and short. Homer. Well short of the 1st down. What a big stop for Florida State. No gain. It'll be 4th down and 2.
I'll tell you, these big guys for Florida State have done a wonderful job. They've set the edge on the outside. Burns has been a force all night long, but it's been that big beef in the middle. Yeah, Burns sets the edge. He had the sack earlier. It's been Frederick Jones and Marvin Wilson and Corey Durden and DeMarcus Christmas. Those guys have delivered, and what an enormous 3 and out by the Seminoles.
Short kick at the 18-yard line, hauled in on a fair catch by DJ Matthews. Only 29 yards. The turnover chain, Brock, in the second half totally changed this game.
It's a 27-7 game, and Sheldrick Redwine right in the backfield. It just sparked it. This 4th down decision, the guts to make that call. Cager delivers. You come back. Michael Pinckney with as good a play as you're ever going to see in college football as he reads that screen, and Jeff Thomas hobble, battling through injury tonight, finishes it off. And that turnover chain, it's become the identity. It's bigger this year, it's heavier this year, and it's been needed more than ever in this second half.
Akers finds a cutback lane. Gets wrestled down across the 25 at the 26-yard line after an 8-yard gain.
Bob and Brock, you talked about the turnover chain, and of course the turnovers change the game, but that thing, man, it changes the energy, and it's been fascinating how it's been in the Seminoles' head since before the game even started. They were talking smack about the turnover chain pregame. When they had their backpack, they continued to yell to fans, where's your chain now? Doing the motion like they're breaking the chain off of their necks. It is in their heads before the game even starts.
I'll tell you what else is in their heads, in their earlobes, and in their helmet, has been what that turnover chain has meant to this crowd tonight.
3rd down and 5. Francois down the sideline, looking back shoulder, incomplete. Tried to find Tamarian Terry. 4th down and 5. And here comes the punt group.
And they've tested Michael Jackson a bunch, and they've gotten very little off of the senior. He's played his best game of the season. I'll tell you what, Jaquan Johnson on that 2nd down run, he's the leading tackler of everybody. We have seen some phenomenal football players performing tonight.
DeeJay Dallas on the return. Has plenty of room to run. DeeJay Dallas down the sideline. Another huge play on special teams. Well, Sports Center tonight after Utah-Stanford on ESPN with Bucci and Stan. A complete post-fight breakdown of Khabib McGregor at UFC 229. Plus the best of the day in college football. We have had some moments in our game they'll be talking about. All the key moments from the game 2s in Houston and Boston. And baseball as well. Sports Center after Utah-Stanford on ESPN and the ESPN app. And it's on that Florida State defense again to try and get a stop.
Check with me here, more than likely checking to a different technique in the run game.
Homer up the middle, runs a man over, keeps churning his legs, down to the 10-yard line.
And that was the senior Westbrook. How do those shoulder pads taste? That's full speed and just getting the pads down. I'll tell you, that last punt return was the first snap that I felt on either side where there just wasn't much gas in the tank. Florida State a hard time covering that kick, and you can see Homer's got plenty left as he's busting through tackles.
What did Mark Richt tell us about Travis Homer? He is like a machine. It is on the tracks. He trusts it, and he'll do that over and over again. Gets another try here. And this time, stuffed at the line, no gain.
And that's all the big man. That's the 3-on-2 inside battle. Those are the numbers that don't get talked about nearly enough, and those Seminoles have done a mighty fine job.
Now a touchdown could put the game away, make it a 2-possession score. A field goal here, and you force Florida State to have to score a touchdown. So any points very much changes the game.
Look for Jeff Thomas here. A lot of space to the bottom of the field if you want to take that risk. And Rick runs on the field for a timeout.
And he knows how important these plays are.
Timeout, Miami, their first of the half.
We'll step aside for just a moment. 5:55 to go. Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewert, Allison Williams back here at Hard Rock Stadium. After the timeout, one last look at the play sheet between the head coach and his redshirt freshman quarterback. What are you dialing up?
Man, I would like a little check with me here. This kid has shown so much in these 60 minutes here that I would give him the opportunity to really read that box. All right, and if they're going to commit to everybody, I'm going to get to a safe throw. I'm going to stack my receivers, which they're going to do. But if they give any numbers to run at all, that machine's not bad to hand it off to either.
A pass in the flat to the freshman who caught the touchdown, and it's yard free. Brevin Jordan couldn't hold on. Hit by Jaden Woodby.
Just on that back shoulder, that's the difference. Put on the front shoulder, he can get his pads down. And that's true freshmen on true freshmen that are going to be doing this for the next 3 years. Because that one is a good one. That is a true freshman grown man playing every snap at tight end and would be the true freshman linebacker. He's out of California, but he's gotten ramped up what this rivalry is all about tonight.
3rd down and 10 from the 11. Bobbled and unable to come up with it was Lawrence Cager. And if he didn't find the end zone, he might have gotten a first down. That's a big drop by Cager, and that will bring out a field goal group to try and extend the lead to 4.
Those are a couple throws right there, and that's one he puts in his belt buckle. That's one with a lot of people around. I think Cager could feel all of those Seminoles. You got to look it in first. Back-to-back plays that open the door of opportunity for Florida State.
So Baxa, 4 of 5 so far in the season. This one from 28. Very important kick. He missed it. Wide right for Miami. And now a field goal is still in play for Florida State. As a lot can still happen in the last 5:39. What a big miss from short range for the true freshman.
Bob, how amazing is this game? I mean, how amazing that different guys in different uniforms through all of these years, and yet so much of these strips play themselves out, whether it's the one possession nature of it. And you can see Baxa right there as he's absorbing this. And it was Aguayo with wide left, and that's wide right. And this turnover chain that's just taken a life of its own no matter who is playing out there.
What does that miss do to this Florida State team?
It absolutely has to infuse them that they know they just need to get in field goal range.
Start here with Patrick. Behind the line, brought down again, another tackle for loss for the Miami defense. A loss of a couple. It was Michael Pinckney helping out Jarren Williams.
And you're running at their 2 best players. You're running at Willis and Garvin, and that's now double-digit tackles for loss, and that's a head-scratcher to me.
Francois, incomplete. Looking for McKitty. Now it's 3rd down and 12.
And that's Quarterman right in the passing lane. That is some veteran guys here on a number of series against DeAndre that are right in the spots he wants to throw it. No matter what he tries to do with his eyes, he can't manipulate it. No matter what Florida State tries to do, they cannot take this crowd out of the game either.
Francois somehow stays on his feet but lost his helmet, and the ball comes out sideways. As soon as Francois' helmet comes off, the play should be dead. Jonathan Garvin got in the backfield again. And in college football, when you lose your helmet, that's it. The play is blown dead immediately. And he's still got the ball when his helmet comes off.
Yep.
So it's a sack, not a fumble. And a punt from the end zone for Logan Tyler, pardon me. And it's up the sideline and does not reach the 50. Out of bounds at the Florida State 42-yard line.
Those are back-to-back series. You see Rick talking to his young quarterback, the Willie Taggart and DeAndre Francois. Those are back-to-back series where your defense, who has been challenged this year, gave you opportunity. And those first down plays just leave me scratching my head. As you get behind the chains to this group in this building and you allow them to rush, there's just nowhere to go. And they're going to ask their defense yet again, one more time, to continue to respond and respond and respond. They've turned the ball over. But they've created some of this beast of emotion that's been in this building. And well, there's your 4-minute drill, your situational football that you've worked on all season long.
Travis Homer, 2 yards on the hurdle. Florida State still has all 3 timeouts. And obviously there should be no rush for Miami.
You've got some guts here and conviction, and Mark Richt has it. You were looking at some play action. You were looking to get, because these Florida State Seminoles are selling out. They are absolutely flying to the line of scrimmage.
And does it have to come here on 2nd down, play action on 3rd down? Would that not necessarily be as effective?
This is the down and distance. You would love to do it because you know, and you can just see it here by the Seminoles' disposition. Look at those guys, all within 8 yards of the line.
It is a throw. It is a lob down the sideline for Wiggins. Incomplete, flag out. The 2nd time D. Wiggins has drawn a pass interference penalty. And it's Kyle Myers again.
Really critical. There's no face guarding in college football. There's not. But you can absolutely impede the receiver.
Defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Myers is a young one, and he is learning on the fly here. Young and experienced. You just got to know, as his eyes are turning, to turn your eyes. It's not face guarding, but it's your contact there that is impeding that freshman receiver from getting to the ball. That is just trusting in these biggest of moments, man. Your fundamentals. That receiver, that true freshman looks, you've got to have a sense that that ball is coming. And you two look and not make that contact that forces that call.
Homer. He's going to want to stay in bounds, even if he loses yardage. You want time to come off the clock, and the officials stop the clock. It looks like Homer went out of bounds. So that saves some time for Florida State, at least for the moment, until they start the clock again, and they now have.
And if you're Mark Richt as well, you just watched the freshman kicker miss a gimme. An absolute gimme. And that's probably got to factor into your play calling here in the final couple minutes as well. Where is Jeff Thomas?
A rollout. Perry, high throw across his body down the sideline. And with 2:35 to go, that stops the clock and makes it 3rd down and 11.
They were looking to Thomas. They were hoping that Thomas would attract that underneath coverage, but credit to Seminoles. This defense been much maligned this season, but man, have they responded in some mighty big situational moments tonight. Where's number 4? Where is my game changer? That is what I am thinking right now if I'm a young quarterback.
He is the middleman in the trips to the near side right. Pass out on the edge to Brevin Jordan. And he leaps to the sideline. Does he have a first down? He was going for the marker, and it looks like they'll mark him down a yard shy. And it looks like, without hesitation, instead of trying another field goal, in a 1-point game, Mark Richt is going to go for it. Florida State, if they're calling timeout here, let a lot of time come off the clock before they did it. We'll be back in 30 seconds. As things stand right now, it's 4th down and 1 for Miami. Will that stand? Because while we were away, we were told that replay buzzed down. They want to review this spot and see whether or not Brevin Jordan got to the line to gain. The replay booth going to buzz down now that we've shown them these looks, because the officiating crew has lined up Miami to go forward on 4th and 1. And off to the fullback, Trayon Gray. He's got the first down.
And by the way, I think that spot was correct. At no point did I see it get to the 20. And number 2, when I asked Mark Richt yesterday, when are you going to get a fullback? You got these tight ends. When are you going to get a fullback? He looked at me and said, what do you mean? I got Trayon. Trayon on belly has not missed this year. And that streak continues. Everybody playing for the backfield and that quick little belly handoff, pushing the pile. And Mark Richt, give him credit, man. It has been consistent over the course of this night. Like an umpire with his strike zone, you want to know what you got as a player. And as a player, I got a head coach that is going to be aggressive.
Play clock down to 3. Another handoff to Gray. He's inside the 10-yard line down to about the 7. And also, how important was it that Florida State called their first timeout before that 4th down play? So they've only got 2 left, and they took the play clock all the way down to 10 before they decided to call a timeout prior to the 4th down run. So they'll call a timeout here. We'll step aside.
Peekaboo.
Minute 32 to go. Florida State only has 1 timeout left. It's 2nd down and 4 for Miami. Now, if Miami gets another first down, the game is over, because they could simply take a knee. If you're Florida State, would you try and bluff and maybe go freeway here, see if Miami bites and let them score a touchdown?
Willie was on the field, which would lead you to some of that conversation.
Now, if Mark Richt is thinking along the same lines, he tells his ball carrier, once you get inside the 4-yard line, you go down.
Yep.
You don't score the touchdown, and then it's victory formation.
But his conversation was with the right guard and right tackle and fullback, and said, you absolutely push this pile. This is on you guys to move and reset the line of scrimmage.
They're certainly not letting them score, as that is a gain of about 1.5 yards, sets up 3rd down, and it will be the final timeout called by Willie Taggart. Again, a quick step aside. Right back in a moment. Another injury for the Seminoles, and that's an important player to have in there on 3rd down and about 3, as Frederick Jones is going to have to come off the field, as the training staff is continuing to look at him. And that gives us a chance, Brock, to go back to a very important play from earlier. It looked like a trick play touchdown, but the officials took it away, saying this was a forward pass.
And this is going to I think, light up the radio waves in Tallahassee all week long. Because that touchdown would have put them up 34-21, would have stemmed the tide a little bit of so much emotion and momentum after a couple turnovers. More than anything, DeAndre and Willie were sitting on that play for just that moment. And whether DeAndre could have stepped up just a little bit, or DJ could have just stepped back even half a step to make that a very, very clear call. And even as I look at that right now, I am in almost indecision about it.
That's a fifth-year senior who is a rock in the interior of that defense for Florida State. So you hate to see that.
By the way, I think another reason why you don't play that freeway game is you want to put the pressure on these guys that haven't been there. A redshirt freshman quarterback, a true freshman kicker. You want to put all the burden of responsibility on that side of the ball. And I never like taking away the stinger of my guys defensively.
Do you have enough time, though? Now you're out of timeouts. So even if Miami doesn't get a first down here, before they kick a field goal, they can take the clock down to about 40 seconds to go in the game. The only reason you would ever try to intentionally let the other team score is if you're playing the percentages that I just won't have enough time on the back end of this sequence if I get a stop. But there's a lot of room between the first down marker and the end zone for Miami to lay down as well. So here's the 3rd down and 3 play. Homer bouncing it outside. He's got a first down. And that will do it. Florida State is out of timeouts. And Miami can take a knee.
That's pretty heads-up play from the guy his coach calls the machine. The machine that knew right there, instead of getting into this end zone, I'm going to stay in bounds. I'm not going to attempt to get into that end zone, and instead, the greatest formation in all of football for an offensive guy. And that is the victory formation.
What a comeback this is for the Canes.
Finding a 4-hour affair in college football to this point in the season that's felt like this. These guys on both sides laid everything on the line. That's what I love so much about this rivalry. That when I was a kid 3,000 miles away and I watched this, I imagine young kids watching this game all afternoon all over the country like, man, these guys play so hard. It matters so much to them and they care about it so emphatically.
Did Miami take a delay of game penalty? I think they did.
They just want to extend the game.
It's irrelevant because you just need to take now 2 more knees, but now 32 seconds on the clock, and the clock stops. So it just adds to a little bit of the end of the game, but what a comeback for the Noles, or for the Canes, I should say. When this was 27-7, all the momentum at that point.
What an experience.
With Florida State, and the Miami defense changed this game in the second half.
An experience that should benefit both of these teams over the course of the season. There's no question in my mind that both will be better for this battle royale for 4 hours.
Let's go down to Allison.
Coach Rick, you were down 20 in the 3rd quarter. What changed the outcome of this game?
Defense, turnovers, and then taking advantage of it offensively, making some good throws and catches. Florida State came in here and took control of this game. And we found a way to fight back, but a lot of credit goes to those guys. I'm very impressed with them, for sure. But somehow we gutted it out and made the plays we had to make. But obviously, it started with the turnover and that beautiful turnover chain.
I want to ask you about that. How did not just the turnover, but that turnover change the energy and the feeling of this ball game? Of course. I mean, when you get a turnover like that and get the ball deep in our territory and we take advantage of it, I actually had to have a fourth down to get it done the first time, I think. But just guys making plays, probably didn't make as many as they should have, probably didn't hit as many open people as we should have, probably didn't catch the ball as good as we should have, but we did enough to win. You sure did. Congratulations, Coach Rick.
Thank you.
What a game, as it always seems to be between Florida State and Miami.
Thank you, college football. Thank you, man. What a night.
For Brock Ewart and Allison Williams, I'm Bob Wischusen. After the break, it is your local programming, and then top of the hour, guess what? More college football. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech is coming up. So long from Miami Gardens.